mainly sunny, although it's overcast right now. Perfect, absolutely perfect weather conditions, Dan Kepley, for a football game.
Tremendous weather conditions today. As you said, it would be even better if it was a few degrees colder out there. These guys will be able to run all afternoon, and the rivalry's there, the intensity's there, and we're just looking for a great performance from these two football teams.
Wally Buono, 1-3-0 versus the Edmonton Eskimos. He would like to improve upon that record. Ron Hopkins and Sean Beals getting set to receive this opening kickoff from McAreedy. This is Hopkins, turns the corner. A good kickoff return for the Calgary Stampeders. Michael Souls was there to force Hopkins out of bounds. A 68-yard kick and a 43-yard return from Ron Hopkins, one of the outstanding all-time kickoff returners in the CFL. Danny Barrett gets the start at quarterback for the Stampeders.
Danny Barrett here, you can see he has unbelievable numbers that he turns out. And right now he's looking, they have to have a good mixture of both running and throwing today for the Calgary Stampeders to have a chance.
Excellent field position for the Stamps. 1st and 10 from the 50. Opening drive of the quarter. That's complete, incomplete, in and out of the arms of Pee Wee Smith. He had it and then dropped it. A flag is down at the 40.
Flag on the play.
Referee today is David Ewell, the man with the black hat, and we'll get the call from David.
Offside. Edmonton number 91. First down repeated.
The toaster, Brett Williams, the guilty player, offside. Those are the offensive keys, Dan.
Danny Barrett obviously has got to have the key to throwing the ball today. Alan Pitts is a big key of trying to run the ball and catch it also. Keevan Jenkins opening up the running game for the Calgary Stampeders.
1st and 5 for the Stamps from the midfield stripe, complete to Pitts, and that's the play the Calgary Stampeders wanted to establish early. Willie Pless over to make the stop for the Eskimos.
Quick hitch to Alan Pitts, in this case, where the Edmonton defenders have to give him and respect him, give him some cushion, and at this point, those short, quick opening throws are going to be able to get completed. Defensive keys, Enos Jackson and David Shelton, because they are going to be matched up against Alan Pitts.
1st and 10 Stampeders from the 47-yard line of the Eskimos. Barrett firing wide, and it's complete. Blake Marshall depending on the play.
Barrett's pass completed to Sean Beals.
Sean Beals, number 88, comes into this game with 29 receptions for 482 yards, an average pickup of 16.6 per reception.
Beals, this was an easy quick out, an easy throw from this point. The big play here, David Shelton from the halfback closes extremely quickly to hold it to only a 1-yard gain.
2nd and 9 for the Stamps from the Eskimos 46. Barrett puts it up again. This time goes to the other side, and this time complete to Pee Wee Smith, who is anything but a Pee Wee at 6'4".
No size factor there. Great nickname for him. He has tremendous hands. Has been a little bit of knock against him earlier of dropping the ball. Gets a good lead offside here of the newcomer Parrish and makes a cut. You can see where Parrish is giving him some room, and Pee Wee makes a big catch.
Obviously, the Stampeders picking on the corners of the Edmonton Eskimos. 1st and 10 from the 35. Again, Barrett pumps once, going deep. Got his man open, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Carl Bland. Bland managed to get him behind the cover, but couldn't hang on. A well-thrown ball by Danny Barrett.
Stop and go pattern that time by Bland. Again, picking on the other corner, Thomas. Here he comes down, makes the turn. A good fake by Danny Barrett, and there he is. Thomas baits on it, and a good throw just outside in a perfect position. Good throw by Danny Barrett. Could have been a touchdown pass.
2nd and 10 Stampeders. The ball's at the 35. Barrett has some wide open space in front of him. Has the first down with about a half a yard to spare. Good block from Carl Bland on the right side there to give Barrett a little space.
Pass, forcing Barrett out of bounds on the play. 1st down, Stampeders.
12-11 to play. Opening quarters. We look at that again.
Danny Barrett splitting out. Middle linebacker Danny Bass is on a blitz, and they tease up the other two linebackers, man-to-man coverage. Danny Barrett sees that very quickly and runs to the flag for the first down.
They spot the ball at the 24-yard line of the Eskimos. The Stampeders 1st and 10. Barrett going deep again. He's got his man open, but that time Sean Beals just unable to get to the overthrown pass from Danny Barrett.
Without a doubt, from talking with John Huffnagel earlier, Steve, you and I know, they felt that they could have and they could put some serious pressure on the new corners of the Edmonton Eskimos. Just felt that they are just inexperienced in playing in that secondary, and here they've seen where Danny Barrett has gone deep 2 times already in the first series of plays.
They're picking on number 14, Doug Parrish, and number 17, Eddie Thomas. It's 2nd and 10 Stampeders from the 24. This time to get to Keevan Jenkins. He's got room. He gets the block, and he's down at the 6-yard line. Eddie Thomas there to make the stop for the Eskimos. An 18-yard pickup for number 23, Keevan Jenkins.
Great cut by Keevan right here. Breaks off to the right, running behind the block of Leo Blanchard and the old veteran Lloyd Fairbanks, who's been able to get some explosion off of that. And Keevan is making a big gain, putting the Calgary Stampeders in excellent position.
1st and goal to go from the 6-yard line for the Stampeders. Pitts.
Pitts coming out on the outside, breaks inside very quickly on Shelton, number 19, hoping to get help from the safety. This has been one of the weaknesses that the Edmonton Eskimos are concerned about, is the safety. Trent Brown helping on the inside.
And Mark McLaughlin is good on the point after, so the Calgary Stampeders draw first blood in this Labor Day Classic against the Eskimos. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where that man, Alan Pitts, has just given the Calgary Stampeders a 7-0 lead over the Edmonton Eskimos. That's his 10th TD receiving, and that's tops in the CFL. And now Mark McLaughlin getting set to kick off to Gizmo Williams and Craig Ellis. The Gizmo at the 20, and they hand off. This is Enos Jackson. Ron Lancaster told us that that play might happen if the Gizmo took it and Jackson was on the receiving team, and they try to reverse. Got them pretty good field position. A 61-yard kick and a 31-yard return. Tracy Ham, the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos, and what a season he's enjoyed. 22 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. That's probably a little on the high side, but he has done an outstanding job offensively for the Eskimos so far this season. 1st and 10 Eskimos from the 45. Quick pass to David Williams. Williams gets up to the 54-yard line. Ron Hopkins makes the tackle for the Stampeders.
9 yards on the play.
A little bit of the same theory and philosophy right here. You have a receiver like David Williams out there, 6'4", with the kind of speed that he has. He's able to catch the ball. Right here you see he is an offensive key. Reggie Taylor running the ball today is going to be a big threat for the offensive of the Edmonton Eskimos, and obviously the key man, Tracy Ham.
Ron Lancaster was telling us they would like to get Tracy on a roll. And he does the things that he does well. The Eskimos win 9 times out of 10. And this is what he does well, is run, and he's got some space. Ham stepping out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Forced out of bounds by Greg Peterson.
Tracy Ham, a 16-yard gain.
Good play by Tracy. They come in with their jumbo or their elephant offense. He fakes the inside handoff, but what you can't see is Chris Johnstone is wide open downfield about 15 yards. Tracy decides to take the ball, get the first down, and do it on his own. Keeps the drive alive.
A 25-yard pickup for the Eskimos. 1st and 10 from the 31. And just floats it over the middle looking for David Williams. Falls incomplete.
And pass intended for David Williams.
Williams would have had to have been on a rocket to pick that one up. It was about 5 yards in front of him. We have a flag down at the 20-yard line.
Tracy Ham trying to take advantage of that 6'4" height to David Williams against 5'10" Ron Hopkins.
A bit of a mismatch. And when you throw in David Williams' speed, look out.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. 91 Calgary. First down.
Unnecessary roughness against the newcomer linebacker Ray Savage. Played with the Montreal Machine in the World Football League. He led the Machine in quarterback sacks with 8.5, but I don't think they want that kind of performance from Mr. Savage. Defensive keys.
Calgary Stampeders very happy to get Alondro Johnson back in the lineup. It's going to add some speed and depth. Kent Warnock has to come off his injury and be able to get some heat on Tracy Ham.
1st and 10 Eskimos. The ball at the 16. Look out! Touchdown for the Edmonton Eskimos. Reggie Taylor coughed up the ball, but he was in the end zone. He had broken the plane. A 16-yard touchdown scamper for Reggie Taylor, and we've got a 7-6 ball game.
Great effort by Tracy Ham and the Edmonton Eskimos to retaliate after that big scoring drive that Calgary put on them. Reggie Taylor here, his second rushing TD this season. Just a little inside handoff. Gives the ball inside, running off the right side. Trevor Bowles, Randy Ambrosi. You see the quickness of Reggie Taylor. No Calgary Stampeders around, into the end zone for the major.
And I'm sure that Reggie will dedicate that to his new son, Rashad. His wife gave birth to their second son yesterday. So Reggie Taylor has a couple of things to celebrate. And they say there's no ill feeling between these two teams on Labor Day.
I've heard that say there's no love lost. I was trying to figure out in some of these things, is there love gained somewhere out of these things? And I don't know, Steve. But the tempers will fly during the course of this game.
I can guarantee you that. And you played in enough of these Labor Day games here in Calgary and Edmonton to know how important they are in the province of Alberta.
Absolutely, for bragging rights, but even more so, inside handoff again to Reggie Taylor. Breaks to the outside, and you see the kind of speed that he has. Must have been some miscues in the Calgary secondary to not have anybody in place to try to make a tackle earlier.
We mentioned at the beginning of our telecast that we thought Alan Pitts and Reggie Taylor would be the keys, and so far they have been just that. Pitts scoring for the Calgary Stampeders. Reggie Taylor coming back to put points on the board for the Edmonton Eskimos. This is Hopkins. Remember the return he had last time. This time he gets up to the 35-yard line. So once again, the Calgary Stampeders have shortened the field somewhat and have good position for the offense. A 53-yard kick and a 12-yard return.
Ron Hopkins that time, the kick only went down to the 25-yard line. He was only able to pick up another 10 yards, but again, puts it in a good field position right now at 1st and 10.
4 plays, 65 yards, close to 2 minutes to put 7 points on the board for the Eskimos. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders from the 35. They fake to Keevan and then pass to Keevan at the 42-yard line. Larry Ruck with the tackle for the Eskimos.
Danny Barrett faking the draw play here, trying to hold the linebackers of the Edmonton Eskimos. This time is one of the rare times you'll see the Edmonton Eskimos caught in a zone defense, but Danny Barrett was able to thread the needle for a big play.
2nd and 3 Stampeders from the 42. Barrett drops back 3 yards and finds Bland. Bland has the first down with about 4 yards to spare.
Bland, a gain of 8 yards on the
Willie
play.
Pless covering on the play. Excellent crowd here at McMahon Stadium. Stadium seats 38,000. They were hoping for a sellout. Don't think they've got that, but they're going to be very close to it. It'll be their largest crowd of the season. And it's a beautiful afternoon for football here at McMahon Stadium. Perfect temperature, little wind to speak of. 1st and 10 Stampeders. They give to Keevan Jenkins, and Keevan doesn't get back to the original line of scrimmage, loses a yard on the play. Mike Walker there to make the stop for Edmonton.
Mike Walker, the veteran defensive lineman of the Edmonton Eskimos. Again, Edmonton plays such a disciplined gap cancellation defense, and they swarm a lot. And they understood when I talked to Danny Barrett earlier before the game that he knew that he had to try to establish this running game early in the game to try to have some effect to open up, obviously, the throwing to Alan Pitts.
2nd and 12. Barrett had Pitts open, but Pitts was unable to get back to a poorly thrown ball from Danny Barrett. Benny Goods got on top of Danny Barrett and made him pay the price that time.
Stampeders.
Danny Barrett sprints out to the left, feels like he has to move the pocket around a little bit to take a little bit of that heat off of him. Benny Goods has been playing for the past 3 games for the Edmonton Eskimos, is a young, aggressive defensive lineman, able to put some heat on him.
First punt of the game for Brent Mattich, averaging just over 42 yards. Good punt. Gizmo, the lone punt returner at the 20. At the 25, at the 30, and forced out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
42-yard
With 6:44 to play in the opening quarter, we're tied at 7.
Yards on the play. 4th and on.
You saw it on CBC television, the first half of our twin bill on Labor Day. Hamilton knocking off Toronto 48-24. First win in 9 starts for Hamilton. A big win for their new head coach, John Gregory. 1st and 10 for the Eskimos from their own 33. Tracy Hand gives to Reggie Taylor, and Taylor is dropped in the backfield at the 30-yard line by Walter Ballard.
Walter Ballard lost 2 yards on the play. 2nd down, Eskimos.
Great surge off the line by Walter Ballard that time. Tracy Ham trying to spread his offense out, spread the defense out, and run the ball inside, trying to trap right here. Pierre Berchevall trying to trap, but Ballard reads it extremely well and shuts it down.
And then Tracy Ham tried to find David Williams. Junior Thurman doing a good job in covering the speedy Williams. So that will bring on the punting team for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Trying to isolate David Williams on Junior Thurman. He throws trips to the wide side of the field and then runs David Williams inside. Again, got some height disadvantage there against Junior Thurman. The ball's thrown behind David Williams a little bit. Could have been a catchable pass.
3rd and 12 for the Eskimos. McAreedy averaging 41 yards per punt. It is blocked! Superb block right at the feet of McAreedy. You talk about your special teams doing the job for the Calgary Stampeders. Anthony getting in there to scoop up that loose ball, but the ball was blocked right at the feet. You very seldom see that. It's usually blocked in the air. Perfect timing.
Great timing. McAreedy, as you see, number 86 coming off the corner. Nobody laid a hand on him. McAreedy had no chance of getting that off together. That was Pee Wee Smith off the corner. Right here again, another view of it. One of those Edmonton Eskimos has to get a helmet on Pee Wee Smith on the line of scrimmage and slow him up.
A huge turnover for the Calgary Stampeders, who are now 1st and 10 from the Eskimos' 15-yard line. Barrett under pressure, now has space. Barrett could go. Touchdown, Barrett. They are enjoying themselves in Calgary, and why not? Their team has just got in front 13-7, capitalizing on the turnover. Danny Barrett running in for the 6 points. And Wally Buono has to be happy, as McLaughlin is good on the convert, and that makes it 14-7 Stampeders over the Eskimos.
Danny Barrett doing something he hasn't done very much this year. Caught Edmonton in a man-to-man defense. The middle linebacker, Danny Bass, is blitzing, and Danny Barrett read that very well. All his receivers were covered downfield, and then he showed that he still has some speed to get it into the end zone for 6. Coming back from a different angle, he's trying to look outside, wants to look to Pitts and Bills, can't find them. Good coverage downfield by the Edmonton Eskimos secondary. Then he just picks his way through into the end zone, smells the good turf, and inside 6 points.
His 5th touchdown rushing of the season, and is he one happy quarterback? You betcha. Injured a couple of games ago, showing no signs of that here at McMahon Stadium this afternoon. The kickoff following the touchdown. Greg Ellis at the 40. Still on his feet at the 45 and brought down at the 49-yard line. So the Eskimos will have excellent field position when Tracy Ham and company take over. Arnold Hasselbach there to make the stop for the Stampeders.
Greg Ellis, just the biggest threat right now at returning the kickoffs and punts as Gizmo Williams, because he knows for a fact that Calgary will be trying to kick the ball away from Gizmo. And again, when Edmonton can start their 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line, it makes a big difference.
Just under 5 minutes to play, opening quarter here at McMahon. Stampeders lead the Eskimos 14-7, but Edmonton have the ball 1st and 10 from the 49. Ham with lots of room in front of him. Has time, gets the pass away. It is complete on the far sidelines to Jim Sandusky, and Sandusky very close to picking up the first down. Junior Thurman is covering on the play.
Eskimo first down. Thurman on the coverage for the Stampeders.
Landro Johnson, here is the key to that Calgary defense right now. Comes up and tries to force. He sees Tracy Ham, gets up in his face, makes him draw the ball down where he can't run, and then all of a sudden comes back to the plate to get into it.
And that time, Tracy Ham tried to do a little scrambling, but Walter Ballard was having nothing of that, and he was all over Tracy Ham for the loss.
Big point for the Calgary defense right now. If they're able to get heat on Tracy Ham with their front 4 rush without bringing their linebackers and leaving the linebackers into coverage, it's really going to put a lot of pressure on Tracy Ham and company today.
2nd sack of the season for Ballard. 2nd and 12 for the Eskimos from the 52-yard line. Ham complete to Taylor. Taylor has the first down. Brought down at the 30-yard line. Greg Peterson.
To Taylor, gain of 22 yards on the play. Tackled by Greg Peterson.
Well, when he's not hurting you by running the football, he can do it taking passes from Tracy Ham.
Tracy straight drop back, looking downfield, wants to throw it. Again, Alonzo Johnson has good pressure up front, and here's where Reggie Taylor is so effective. Dumps the ball out to him, and he picks up big yardage.
1st and 10 from the 31. Ham under pressure and dropped at the 35. Johnson and Finley combining on the play to drop Tracy Ham.
2nd down, Eskimos.
Matt Finley does a good job at his outside linebacking position, coming around, gets one-on-one with Reggie Taylor, and is able to beat Reggie Taylor one-on-one and able to get a sack on Tracy Ham.
A loss of 4 yards on the play. 2nd and 14 from the 35. Ham flushed out of the pocket, looking downfield. Sandusky comes back, but he couldn't make the catch, and if he had been able to hang on, he was out of bounds.
Carl Anthony on the coverage for the Stampeders. 3rd down.
Tremendous effort this time by the Calgary defense all the time, constantly putting pressure on Tracy Ham. Has not had the luxury of being able to set back up in the pocket and let his receivers do what they do best, and for him to complete passes. He's been throwing on the run under pressure the last 4 times.
McAreedy will attempt a 42.
Ray McAreedy, the young man who is commuting between Edmonton and York University in Toronto to finish off his education degree, getting set to attempt a 42-yarder. And it's wide. It had the legs, but it's wide, and the Calgary Stampeders concede the single point. So the Stamps continue to lead the Edmonton Eskimos 14-8 with just over 2 minutes to play opening quarter.
as Calgary and Edmonton battle for first. Saskatchewan now challenging BC. The Riders have won 2 straight for Don Matthews. In the East, Toronto leads the way. Ottawa is breathing down the Bombers next. Hamilton 1-8 with their 48-24 win over the Argos today. Steve?
A big win for John Gregory and the Hamilton Ticats, their first of the regular season in 1991. And we'll have a report from Iberwin Stadium on that game live at the half. It is 1st and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 35-yard line. The score is 14-8, favor the Stampeders. 1:52 remaining to play in the opening quarter. This is the first running play for Andy McVeigh, and Mike Walker gets the tackle for Edmonton.
2nd down, Stamp.
Labor Day Casket, as you see, the last Stampeder victory, September 7th, 1987, winning it 29-20. So this is a big need, a big urgency to try to pull one out today.
Eskimos have won 18 of the last 20 games versus the Stampeders, but Andy McVeigh would like to change that all around. He gets up to the 41-yard line. Leroy Blue there to make the tackle. Pick up 8. That should be good for the first down. As the Stampeders keep this drive alive. And the word we get from the Stampeders bench is that they're going to stay with the run game and the short passes. Going to go away from the long bombs for a while. 1st and 10, Stamps from the 46. And there's one of those short passes we were talking about, but that is out of bounds.
Barrett's pass.
Pee Wee Smith made the catch, but he was about a yard into the white paint before he got a hold of the ball.
Calgary taking advantage of the young Edmonton corners again. Pee Wee Smith made a great cut on Parrish out to number 14. Broke to the outside. Danny Barrett just let him outside a little too much. Danny Barrett throws the ball extremely well on the run.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. They've been picking on the corners early in this game. Eddie Thomas and Doug Parrish. Barrett under pressure. Eludes the pressure, fires long. So much for not going long, but he had very little choice there because he was under great pressure from Larry Ruck.
Eddie Thomas on the coverage for the Eskimos. 3rd down.
Danny Barrett just trying to throw the ball deep, getting out of it where it's not going to be intercepted, and he's not going to take a sack for a big loss. Turning out hard on the corner, Larry Ruck comes hard. Larry's played extremely well for the Edmonton Eskimos. Danny Barrett showing that great strength that he has just by stiff arming, and at the end, Danny Bass comes through and just gives him a hello kiss.
Is that what you call it?
One of those things.
Hello kiss. Matic punts to the far sidelines, and of course that nullifies any kind of punt return from the Gizmo.
Rolled out of bounds.
I think that's intelligent strategy on the part of the Calgary Stampeders. A 37-yard punt, no return. Now, what will Mr. Lancaster have in mind for the Edmonton Eskimos on this offensive series?
Great intensity in that man's mind right there. He knows that this is a must game to win this thing after losing 2 out of the last 3.
Of course, his last loss was to Don Matthews and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 1st and 10 for Edmonton from the 27. And fakes it and then keeps himself and gets up to the 28-yard line where Stu Laird made the stop. Calgary Stampeders leading the Eskimos 14-8 at the end of the first quarter.
Lucky roll number 10.
Number 16 for the Calgary Stampeders is Bob Torrance, a Calgary native, a former quarterback with the Dinosaurs of the Canadian University Football League. Bob Torrance led the Dinosaurs to the Canadian Championship in 1988. He is now number 3 to Danny Barrett here in Calgary. Steve?
Thank you, Scott. 2nd and 9 for the Eskimos. And Tracy Ham threw that one out of bounds. Let's check the stats in the first quarter.
Pretty well. First downs are even here at 5 for Edmonton, 8 for Calgary. You can see where it comes down. Yards rushing. This is a pretty even game. The big thing is time of possession right now by the Calgary Stampeders. This is what Wally Buono wanted to do, as we spoke to him before the game, try to get into a ball control type of thing. The best way to defend against Tracy Ham is to keep him off the field.
Bob McAreedy, Ray McAreedy on the field to punt for the Edmonton Eskimos. Carl Bland, the lone punt returner for Calgary. Good pressure again, and that was partially blocked. Taken by Darcy Kopp. A flag goes down.
30 yards, taken by Darcy Kopp. No return.
But that was all set up by the punt once again being partially blocked.
Dan Murphy in the tackle for
Carl Anthony
the Eskimos.
getting in on the Eskimo punter.
No yards against the Edmonton Eskimos. Will increase that up 15 yards.
Members of the media will
You can see Carl Anthony coming through untouched again.
No
Very
yards.
similar to the
Edmonton
previous
number
kick.
3.
What the Edmonton Eskimos were trying to do earlier, they set up where they had 4 receivers out wide, hoping the Calgary Stampeders would spread out with them. This time they did not, and Calgary Stampeders kept inside. Edmonton was outnumbered and left the guy completely unblocked.
And once again, that all adds up to excellent field position for the Stampeders, who are now 1st and 10 from the Eskimos 32. Stamps lead 14-8. Barrett with time, going long for Pitts. Pitts, that time losing the battle in the air against Enos Jackson.
Pitch incomplete, coverage by Jackson.
And I suppose if you wanted to fault anybody on that one, it might be the quarterback. And Barrett had to throw a long way that time from the left-hand side to the right corner.
Sprint out, throw back to Pitts. He runs a post corner. Edmonton Eskimos running a zone defense. The halfback, Enos Jackson, covering the deep third on that point, was able to get up and knock it down.
7 of 13 for 49 yards and 1 touchdown. That to Alan Pitts. 2nd and 10. Barrett with time. It's deflected and almost picked off.
Barrett pass incomplete, deflected
By Eddie Thomas. He got a piece of
by
it.
Eddie Thomas. 3rd down.
So that'll bring on a 3rd and 10 situation for the Stampeders. And surely we'll see Mr. Mark McLaughlin.
Mark McLaughlin, a 39.
Danny Barrett comes back in the back of the pocket, looks at the zone defense, tries to read inside and pick behind Willie Pless, the linebacker. A hand gets touched on it right at the line of scrimmage and deflects the ball.
A 39-yard field goal attempt from Mark McLaughlin. And this one is good. The Calgary Stampeders increase their lead over the Edmonton Eskimos 17-8 with 13:21 remaining to play in the 2nd quarter here at McMahon Stadium. A little bit more breathing room for the head coach of the Stamps, Wally Buono.
Certificates from the Elephant and Castle and Sport OB.
2 different things that we're seeing right now. A lot of pressure by the Calgary defense on Tracy Ham. And again, conversely, Danny Barrett isn't enjoying being able to throw the ball very much at will. The Edmonton defense is not coming and not getting the kind of pressure that they would like to get against a quarterback like Danny Barrett.
Perfect afternoon for football. This Labor Day Classic between 2 old rivals, the Stampeders and the Eskimos. Calgary kicking off following that field goal from McLaughlin. Greg Ellis at the 10, 20, and he goes no further than the 20-yard line. Kenton Leonard downfield to make the tackle for the Stampeders. A 70-yard kickoff and a 15-yard return from Ellis.
A lot of compliment to McLaughlin on this. The last kickoff he made hit at the 25-yard line. This was down to the 4, and you can understand now they start 1st and 10 on the 20 as opposed to the 40.
That underlines the importance of having a kicker who can do the job on the kickoffs and kick it deep. Too many kickers in the CFL these days don't seem to be able to kick it far enough. 1st and 10 for the Eskimos from their own 20. They give to Marshall, and Marshall is stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Matt Finley leading a sea of red shirts
and Will Johnson.
Will Johnson assisting on the play for the Stampeders.
Tremendously inspired, intense defense right there by the Calgary Stampeders. They are having success doing what they want to do. Inside handoff to Blake Marshall, but Calgary Stampeders are not having anything to do with those kind of fakes, and they just shut a very good runner in Blake Marshall down to nothing.
Reminds me of an inspired player that used to play for the Edmonton Eskimos, Mad Dog Kepley. Tracy Ham going deep, and that should call for interference. He was looking for David Williams. Williams brought down at the 46-yard line by the veteran Ron Hopkins, and I think Hopkins would be the first to admit a little defensive interference. Here's the call.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 15, first down.
Steve, you know for a fact defensive players would never admit to anything of doing any kind of flag, particularly this. They try to get one-on-one David Williams in, and it's just a matter of their feet getting tangled up and Ron Hopkins being the wrong guy at the wrong place.
I think it was a question of Hopkins realizing that he was a beaten man. 1st and 10 Eskimos. Ham again under pressure, and again he's dropped. Kenton Leonard.
Tracy Ham, sacked by Will Johnson, and Kenton Leonard lost it 5 yards.
Tremendous pressure from that Calgary Stampeder defense. They certainly didn't play this way in 2 losses against the Winnipeg Blue
There's the
Bombers.
effort by Leonard. Comes in the first time, misses Tracy Ham. Tracy showing great strength, spins around from him. Leonard still determined, gets up and still makes the tackle.
Will Johnson, 7 sacks so far this season for the Stampeders. 2nd and 14 from the 43. Again, Ham is under pressure. Flushed out of the pocket. Going deep. Sincar is wide open. Couldn't stay in bounds. Sincar, there was nobody around him. Out of bounds at the 31-yard line. How Tracy Ham got that one away that far, I'll never know. A 41-yard pass.
One of the greatest offensive threat that the Edmonton Eskimos have is the scrambling ability of Tracy and the receivers believing that Tracy will get away, and all they have to do is try to find an open area. Tracy's trying to look to his left, wants to throw the ball downfield to David Williams, comes back across the field. Marco Sincar wide open, being the wily vet of 12 years that he is, finds the open spot. Tracy Ham trying to just make the completion right now, and Marco doing a great job of keeping his feet in the bounds.
But Marco Sincar could not stay in bounds to get to the end zone. Believe me, there was nobody that was going to stop Marco had he been able to do that. But you're right. A veteran like Sincar is able to find the open area, and that's exactly what he did for his quarterback, Tracy Ham. 11:21 to play, second quarter. The Stamps lead the Eskimos 17-8. Well, they come in all shapes and sizes to this Labor Day Classic here in Calgary. We even got some coneheads in the crowd. Over 1,000 fans have made the trip down from Edmonton for this game this afternoon. 10 busloads left Edmonton. And there they are. They're all decked out in their Labor Day Classic T-shirts. A very colorful portion of this large crowd here at McMahon Stadium this afternoon.
And vice versa. You'll see red in Commonwealth Stadium next Friday. I think when you get the rematch, the home and home series, they come out there in groves to support the Calgary Stampeders also.
Kent Warnock was shaken up on that last play for the Stampeders. He's out of the game, and Harold Hasselback has taken his place in the Stampeder lineup. 1st and 10 for the Eskimos from the 31-yard line of the Stampeders. This is Marshall. Marshall has the hole and gets down to the 22-yard line. Alondra Johnson, the middle linebacker, over to make the stop.
Tackled by Alondra Johnson.
Little different offensive scheme right now called by the Edmonton Eskimos. They're calling it their Giz package, where all of a sudden they take out Reggie Taylor in the backfield, put in Gizmo Williams as a wide receiver. They go 3 wide receivers to one side, David Williams to the right-hand side. You've got Michael Souls and Blake Marshall in the backfield, and run the ball inside to Blake Marshall.
2nd and 2 Eskimos from the 23. Right side is open. Michael Souls down inside the 5. Carl Anthony there to force him out of play.
18 yards on the play. That should be 18 yards.
Tremendous blocking off the right side. Michael Souls does a great job of getting outside. Good blocking by Brent Williams on the corner in their elephant or jumbo offense. Tries to get the Calgary Stampeders pinching down inside, and they're able to break it outside for a big gain.
Now it's 1st and goal to go Eskimos. The ball is at the 4. Tracy Ham under pressure, still on his feet. Still on his feet. How he got out of that, I'll never know. And then fires the ball into the artificial turf. He was looking for Craig Ellis, but it's incomplete. But how Tracy Ham eluded that rush is beyond me.
Eskimos, Daryl Hall covering for the Stampeders.
Great effort. Tracy Ham at 6 foot, about 195 pounds, but tremendously strong up in the shoulders. Avoids 2-3 big tackles right there. Is able to get outside, being chased by Harold Ballard, and still able to get the throw away to create that there's not a sack, not a loss.
So it's 2nd and goal now for the Eskimos. Again from the 4-yard line. Ham floats one up, looking for Sandusky in the corner, and again, it's incomplete. Tracy can't believe he overthrew Sandusky, who was open.
Sandusky had a step or two on Rod Hopkins on the right-hand side. Just a streak pattern on the outside. Gives a little fake to the end. Slides out to the right to the corner. Tracy led him a little too much.
But Tracy had time that time to find a receiver. Elected to try for Jim Sandusky, but it was incomplete. And that will bring on Ray McAreedy to attempt a chip shot from the 11-yard line.
Steve, watch yourself here early. We talked a little earlier with Ron Lancaster that maybe there's a fake field goal in here somewhere today.
It is. There it is, Danny. Good call. It's a fake. Ham puts it up. Incomplete. The Edmonton Eskimos gambled with the fake field goal. It did not work. The score remains Stampeders 17, the Eskimos 8.
The Stampeders do.
The Edmonton Eskimos head coach Ron Lancaster elected to gamble on that last play with the fake field goal, and the gamble did not work.
Tracy Ham puts a touchdown. McAreedy comes through. He's looking outside, wants to throw the ball deep to the receiver. Happens to be Leroy Blue, the outside linebacker.
So the Stampeders are 1st and 10 from the 4-yard line. Barrett. And that's almost picked off. It's complete to Bland. And Bland is upended at the 18-yard line. Trent Brown over there to make the stop for Edmonton.
What a tremendous compliment to Bland to come back for that ball. Danny Barrett puts it on a frozen rope out there, and David Shelton, I should say, had a great opportunity for an interception, but Bland comes back, makes the big reception, turns it upfield for a big first down.
1st and 10 for the Stampeders. The ball now at the 19. They give to McVay. McVay breaks one tackle and then is dropped at the 28-yard line.
Andy McVay tackled by Williams.
So the Calgary Stampeders have got themselves out of a hole. Remember, this drive started at the 4-yard line.
McVay, not a big threat as a breakaway runner, but is a very consistent inside guy that can keep the Edmonton defense honest.
This is close to first down territory, close enough that they've elected to bring out the chains and measure. And you see, it is a first down by the nose of the football. First and 10, Calgary. The ball at the 29. Stampeders lead 17-8. 8:10 remaining to play till halftime. Barrett. And again, it's complete to Bland. Bland stopped at the 42-yard line by Eddie Thomas.
Great success with Bland, and this is the key. If Danny Barrett has success throwing the ball to his wideout, it's going to take some of the heat off Alan Pitts inside. Danny Barrett makes a great throw, and again, Bland has got some good cushion between he and number 17, Parrish.
Prior to this game, they went a lot to the slots. They're trying to get to the wideouts. That time they couldn't get to the wideouts because of Danny Bass.
They're attacked on the play by Danny Bass.
Bass in on top of Danny Barrett for the sack. A loss of 8 yards on the play.
Danny Bass, the leader on that Edmonton defense. comes right through a missed block, be able to get away from McVeigh, eludes the block, and able to get a hand on Danny Barrett. Danny Bass has been the mainstay of this Edmonton defense for a long time, and people look to him for his leadership on and off the field.
Didn't he take over from you?
Yes, he did.
Second and about 20 yards. And that time, a good defensive effort by Eddie Thomas in knocking that pass down, intended for Pee Wee Smith. Good read by Thomas. Excellent reaction to the throw.
Great read that time by Danny Barrett. He had the one-on-one coverage he's looking for with Pee Wee Smith on the outside. And again, Thomas just does a great job of coming over top, getting his hand on the ball and knocking it down.
That may be a case of going to the well once too often against Eddie Thomas. They've been picking on him all afternoon. Brent managed to punt for the Stampeders. The punt from the 25-yard line. A good spiral, driving the Gizmo back to the 20. He fumbles, scoops it up, still manages to hang on at the 15, and then forced out of bounds at the 23-yard line. But a flag goes down. We'll sort out that flag when we come back. 17-8, Stampeders lead over Edmonton.
Well, they compete for outstanding prizes in this one. The CBC trophy is won. From the boot, Willis Jaycox of Saskatchewan has run it back for more yards than anyone so far. But this man, Henry Gizmo Williams of the Edmonton Eskimos, is not to be ignored. The Giz is within striking distance in our return to sender showdown here on the CFL on CBC. There he is, Henry Gizmo Williams, second in our return to sender competition. Steve?
And Scott, those stats are right up to date. The Rocket had 101 punt return yards today against the Hamilton Ticats in the Argos' loss to Hamilton. 1st and 10 for the Eskimos from their own 12-yard line. That penalty against Dan Murphy of the Eskimos puts him in a bit of a hole. Tries to get him out of it early. Great catch by David Williams at the 44-yard line. There's a flag down at the 31.
Complete to David
Tremendous
Williams.
effort again.
Flag on
Tracy
the play.
Ham trying to get the Edmonton Eskimos out of the hole very quickly. Comes right back to the same pattern that David Williams got called with pass interference on Ron Hopkins. Again, Tracy able to lead him, and David Williams showing you the great...
Calgary number 15, decline, first down.
Showing him the great athlete that he is, making a diving stab to take a big first down and get him out of the hole.
Forward pass interference against the Stampeders on that man, David Williams. 1st and 10 Eskimos, just shy of the 45. They get to Reggie Taylor. Taylor up to the 52-yard line, and again, flags go down.
A gain of 7 on the play.
Very similar play to what Reggie scored on earlier. Spreading the receivers out, 3 trips to the wide side of the field. Single on David Williams on the other side. Inside trap. You can see Randy Ambrosi here turning upfield.
Major
Good
foul.
block on number 91. Again, face mask against Reggie Taylor. Advances another 10 yards.
Kent Warnock, the guilty party, grabbing the face mask of Reggie Taylor and getting caught. Many times players would get away with that infraction, but not that time. 1st and 10 Eskimos from the 42. Ham has time, sets up the screen to Blake Marshall. Marshall tries to find some running room on the outside.
Marshall.
It's a couple of yards. Ray Savage there to make the stop. And the cheerleaders have made the trip down from Edmonton to lend their support to the Eskimos, along with those 1,000 fans. Second and 6 for the Eskimos. Quick pass over the middle. It's complete to Sinkar. Sinkar down inside the 30. Has the first down, and a late flag goes down. Alondra Johnson and Greg Peterson combining to make the tackle on Sinkar.
Quick read by Tracy this time. He shows great release. Again, get a halfback blitz, and Marco Sinkar is the slot back off the right side. Drops the ball very quickly. The safety you can see going over there very
Major
quickly,
foul.
and is late getting there. Marco Sinkar showing great hands and why he's been such a durable inside receiver for 12 years for the Edmonton Eskimos.
That time, the penalty against the Stampeders. It's a major foul, and it moves the ball down inside the 15. So it's 1st and 10 for the Eskimos at Calgary's 14-yard line. Stamps lead 17-8. Ham, big hole up the middle. And Tracy Ham takes it down to the 7-yard line. Matt Finley there to bring him down and stop what would have been a sure touchdown.
So the things you need to do with Tracy, sprinting out to his left. Again, he sees the opening like Danny Barrett saw earlier in the game. Straight upfield, trying to get into the end zone. What Calgary is doing is playing what they call a spy defense. They have number 51, Alondro Johnson, spying and kind of shadowing Tracy Ham. Wherever he goes on the field, Alondro Johnson tries to go.
Eskimos have to get this ball down to the 4-yard line to keep the drive alive. They get to Reggie Taylor. Touchdown! Second touchdown of the afternoon for Reggie Taylor. Reason for the 1,000-plus Edmonton fans to do some celebrating.
Shows how diversified they are at running the ball. Runs the ball off the left side. Blake Marshall comes across, gets a good block on Alondro Johnson, the middle linebacker, almost like a trap play. Reggie Taylor runs off Blake's butt, and he gets in the end zone for a major score.
And McAreedy's point after is good. So the Calgary Stampeders have a 2-point lead now over the Eskimos.
Before the end of the half from any of the 50-50 volunteers.
Coming back to the touchdown, he spreads out the offense. Blake Marshall goes up the field inside. Reggie Taylor makes a great gut to the outside, and once he makes that cut, he's got the speed to be able to run away from linebackers.
And look at the way he keeps those feet in front of him when he's going through the hole. That makes it very difficult on the tacklers.
What a proud
piece of Reggie Taylor.
What a proud papa he is today with Rashad. He looks over, as he told us earlier, Steve, he says, I looked at the baby, he says, he looks kind of short. I said, well, Reggie, you're only 5'6". What do you expect?
12 plays, 98 yards, time of possession 2 minutes and 24 seconds, and capped by the second touchdown of the game of Reggie Taylor. Loose football, scooped up by the Calgary Stampeders. Matt Finley was able to fall on the ball for Calgary. Scott?
Well, Steve, a tight one here at McMahon. Live at the half from Calgary. We'll head east to Hamilton for a report on Coach John Gregory's debut with the Tiger Cats. The Argos at Ivor win, a 48-24 win for Hamilton. Here, the man they call the Stealth, Derek Crawford, joins me live at the half. Steve?
Let me see. We got the Stealth in the league. We got the Rocket. We got the Missile. Are we missing anything? 1st and 10 Stampeders from the 38-yard line. Barrett. Complete to Pee-wee Smith. And Smith has the first down with about a yard to spare. Flag is on the far sidelines. Illegal procedure against Calgary, so that will nullify the game.
Illegal procedure again against Calgary Stampeders. Again, Danny Barrett is showing great strength of being able to sit there in the pocket. He has enough time to throw the out to the wide side of the field. And Pee-wee Smith is having good success against both corners of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Alan Pitts a little anxious to get in motion. Penalty against him. 1st and 15 now for the Stampeders from their own 33. Barrett has time. Complete to Bland. Bland at the midfield stripe has the first down by 6 yards. Enos Jackson there to pull Bland down. And now Calgary going with the hurry-up offense.
Danny Barrett working his game plan to a T, throwing to the wideouts and taking some heat off Alan Pitts inside.
1st and 10 Stampeders from the 54-yard line of the Eskimos. Barrett under pressure, gets away, has some space. Barrett down at the 39-yard line. So the Calgary Stampeders are on the move. They lead the Eskimos 17-15 with 2:49 to play till halftime.
September 22nd, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleader Day.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. I'm Steve Armitage along with Dan Kepley and Scott Russell. Glad to have you with us on a perfect afternoon in Calgary. 1st and 10, Stampeders from the Eskimos 37. Barrett looking long, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Pee Wee Smith down the left side, but Smith was overthrown.
Covered by Parrott.
Danny Barrett's getting the setup that he exactly wants when he comes out from underneath the center. Blitzing situation by the Edmonton defense. One-on-one. Right here, Pee Wee's outside. Here he's got number 14, Parrish, beat to the outside. The ball is slightly overthrown, but he's got a step or two on Parrish, and he's had that way for about 4 passes already through the course of this game.
2nd and 10, again from the 37. Barrett. That time it was complete to Pee Wee Smith. Smith lined up on the right side that time, cutting across the middle. Eddie Thomas defending on the play.
Danny Barrett does one thing extremely well. He does a lot of things extremely well, but he reads defenses extremely well. In this case, he catches Edmonton Eskimos in a blitzing man-on-man defense, and Pee Wee Smith reads it. The middle is wide open. Danny Barrett takes it right to him for a big play.
Back to the live action. Barrett going long, got his man open. Touchdown! Going long to Carl Bland.
The out and up pattern. Fakes the out right here. Carl Bland turns it upfield. Danny Barrett gives him a pump and then just lobs it out to him. Big 6 points for the Calgary Stampeders.
And the point after by Mark McLaughlin is good. The Calgary Stampeders go in front of the Edmonton Eskimos 24-15. And we've got 2 minutes and 19 seconds remaining until halftime. Don't forget to join us for Live at the Half with Scott Russell. We'll be talking to Derek Crawford, and we'll have a report from Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton on the Ticats' big upset win over the Toronto Argonauts earlier this afternoon.
Something that may have to happen with the Edmonton defense. Rich Stubler, the defensive coordinator, likes to play a lot of man coverage. Here it is again. Danny Barrett takes the pump fake and then lobs it up high in the air for Bland, who does a great job of keeping his eye and concentration on the ball. Now to protect those secondary guys and police those corners, Danny Barrett, because he's extremely happy and celebrating right now.
And there's the kick from McLaughlin. Taken by Thomas. And he is stopped at the 34-yard line by David Sapunchis.
Returned by Thomas.
Not bad field position for the Edmonton Eskimos. In a bit of a hole now. They're down 24-15, but still lots of time remaining on the clock till halftime. 2 minutes and 14 seconds. That should be ample time for Ronnie Lancaster's Edmonton offense. Lancaster said he wanted to throw underneath the Calgary linebackers, but it's Calgary that's doing that to the Edmonton linebackers so far in this first half. The ball's at the 35. 1st and 10 Eskimos. And with time, fires over the middle, and it's intercepted. Greg Peterson with the interception for the Calgary Stampeders. His second interception of the season.
Greg Peterson, arguably one of the best, if not the best safety in the West this year. Tracy Ham has plenty of time to throw the ball. The Calgary defense is in a zone defense. He reads Alonzo Johnson, kind of an over and over pattern where you see Marco Sincar short. And again, he tries to throw it over. Greg Peterson makes a big play, big interception.
2:05 till halftime. Now it's 1st and 10 Stampeders from the Eskimos 43. They give to Keevan Jenkins. Jenkins down to the 39-yard line. Met there by Larry Ruck, and there's the man who came up with the interception for the Stampeders.
Greg Peterson's second interception this season. Again, leads that secondary for the Calgary Stampeders. He is a big leader out there, and they believe in themselves right now. They're having tremendous success against Tracy Ham and company.
2nd and 6 for Calgary from the 39. Barrett just flips it over for McVeigh. Flag is down as McVeigh is tripped up at the 22-yard line by Willie Plus.
One of the way Danny Barrett will take the heat off of that Edmonton defense, who's blitzing all the time, throws the screen pass inside to McVeigh.
Here's the call from Dave Ewell.
Ineligible receiver, Calgary number 34. 2nd down repeated.
Ineligible receiver is the call on that last play, but let's go back to the interception.
Comes back to the interception, but you see the great control and the concentration that Greg Peterson has. One hands that ball. Tremendous effort by that safety.
Great angle from our ISO director, Jeff Johnson. Good work in the truck. 2nd and 16 now for the Stampeders from the 49. Barrett fires a strike down at the 23-yard line to Pee Wee Smith. Boy, that pass was on a rope.
Incomplete on the play. Harris on the coverage.
And Danny Barrett getting a little too fired up. He's running at the referee because there's again a flag down on the far side. Barrett can't believe it.
Danny Barrett standing in the middle of the pack, steps up in the pocket and throws a frozen rope out there. Inside curl, the ball is incomplete, but again, Pee Wee Smith is wide open as he's going down the field, turns, comes back inside. The ball is thrown low. Number 14, Parrish, comes over top.
3rd down.
Well, again, the penalty is against the Calgary Stampeders, so again, it nullifies another drive, and it forces a punting situation now for Calgary. Brent Manage will get this away from the 40-yard line. Gizmo standing at his own 10. Good high spiral, forcing Gizmo back to the 5. Gets out to the 7, but no more. Kenton Leonard once again downfield for the Calgary Stampeders, but a flag is down in the end zone. A 55-yard punt from Matic and only a 3-yard return from the Gizmo. Dave Ewell conferring with his officiating staff. Now the call.
Holding, Edmonton number 45. Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 37. 1st down.
Holding and face masking.
Great matchup here. Mike McLean out of the Calgary University of Alberta Golden Bears, fighting right here with Singer, who's also a linebacker of the University of Edmonton.
Mike McLean, one of the guilty parties on that infraction. Of course, the penalties offsetting and nullifying themselves. It makes it 1st and 10 Eskimos from their own 10-yard line.
We picked that matchup earlier in the forecast to say that there was a matchup between Mike McLean and Mark Singer. As again, 2 linebackers coming from their old rivalries at the University of Alberta.
1:25 to play till halftime. Good fake by Ham, buys him some time, completes to Craig Ellis. Ellis dropped at the 40-yard line. Darrell Hall defending on the play for the Stampeders. A 30-yard pickup for the Eskimos as they go into their hurry-up offense.
At their 40.
1st and 10 Edmonton from the 40. Ham under pressure. Eludes the pressure, completes to Sandusky, but they rule he was out of bounds when he made the reception. Alondra Johnson.
Anthony on the coverage. There is a flag on
Tracy
the play.
Ham providing the pressure early and forcing Ham to get rid of the ball.
Forward pass interference, Calgary number 30. 1st down.
Kenton Leonard called for pass interference. That's the third call like that against the Stampeders this afternoon. 24-15 the score. Favor Calgary. Edmonton had the ball. 1st and 10 from the 53. And with time. Now pressure. Gets away from the pressure. Sprints to the right side. Looking for Sandusky. Incomplete. Junior Thurman was defending on the play. Will Johnson and Matt Finley applying the pressure on Ham that time.
Tracy Ham again showing great athletic ability. What you have to do as a defender coming in is break down. Be under control when you're going to try to make that tackle against Tracy Ham. Not try to take his head off because he'll elude you just as he did there against Matt Finley.
That's good advice for a young defender.
Tracy throws the ball outside here. Again, Junior Thurman does a great job of knocking the pass down, or Sandusky had a chance for a big gain.
2nd and 10 Eskimos from the 53. Ham puts it up, looking for David Williams, incomplete.
Ham pass. And
Carl Anthony was defending against David Williams that time. Boy, that's good to see. Get the youngsters out to the ballpark, enjoy football at an early age. Maybe they'll come back as teenagers and young adults and make it a habit down through the years. That's what the CFL would like to do.
Maybe one day he'll be one of those red and white guys out there chasing people around.
See that sea of yellow and green in your picture? Those are Edmonton fans, 1,000 plus that made the trip down from the north for this game. This Labor Day Classic, and it has been a good one. 24-15, Calgary lead, 53 seconds remaining till halftime. McAreedy's punt will be taken by Bland. No, it isn't. It's taken by Sapunjas. And Sapunjas forced out of bounds at the 20, but we've got 2 flags down. So, in a game that was going along pretty good, has all of a sudden been slowed down by penalties on both sides of the ball. 37-yard punt and no return from Sapunjas.
Sapunjas did a great job that time. A heads-up play. The ball hit the ground, bounced up. He was able to feel it. He was not the intended return man, but he felt Murphy, the Edmonton Eskimo, traveling down, and he was able to get a no yards penalty probably in that, but there was another flag across the field.
No yards. Edmonton number 3. Illegal block. Calgary number 58. 1st down.
So once again we get offsetting penalties. 12-22, 138, 2 touchdowns. Danny Barrett enjoying a productive afternoon at quarterback for the Stampeders. 42 seconds to play till halftime. Fumble! Edmonton recover at the 25-yard line. A big turnover for the Eskimos. It looks as if Benny Goods was able to jump on that ball for the Eskimos.
Benny Good does the great thing of recovering that, but Leroy Blue is the key. Comes off the right side. See, nobody blocks him, hits McVay right before he gets the handoff, causes a big turnover, and this is a very important thing from a point of view if the Edmonton Eskimos can score before halftime going in and change this momentum.
That's a key point. That would certainly give the Eskimos a lot of momentum heading to the dressing room. They're down 24-15, 38 seconds to play. Hand, good time, puts it up, looking long for Craig Ellis. Ellis left his feet, but unable to get to the pass. So that'll make it 2nd and 10 from the 26.
Calgary gambling on that time, comes with a halfback blitz from the right side. Again, it pitched one-on-one. Peters against Craig Ellis. Tracy just overthrows it, or else that's 6 points.
Second and 10. Little early movement there on the part of the Calgary Stampeders. Flags all over the place. It's against Edmonton. So it may have been a little move on the part of Tracy Ham at the center.
I don't think Tracy's old enough to watch old films of Tom Wilkinson bobbing his head at the line of scrimmage. But when he came out of there, he thought he was going to get the ball on the first count. Came out, started to make a move with his hands and his head. Rod Knopf did not exchange the ball, and Calgary made the move across the line. Called illegal procedure against Edmonton.
Are you suggesting that the new head coach at the University of Alberta Golden Bears did that on purpose?
Well, I didn't think he did it on purpose. I think sometimes he had...
Edmonton number 8. Second down repeated.
I like to think he had so much brains in there sometimes his head just wobbled just a little bit.
Here it is. See the way the hands came up underneath the center. Ham still on his feet, gets the pass away, complete to Blake Marshall. Marshall out at the 10-yard line. That's good enough for the first down. Will Johnson.
A gain of 19 yards on the play.
Ham wrapped up, but Ham got away and got the pass to Blake Marshall.
Be under control with this guy. You have got him forced. You're doing what you want to do as far as Calgary defense. Force him upfield. A little bit of hand there on Will Johnson. Able to just slide off Tracy Ham. Blake Marshall does a great job of receiving that ball.
So now it's 1st and 10 for the Eskimos. They're looking for Michael Souls, but it's incomplete. But again, we get a flag down. 20 seconds to play till halftime. Still lots of time for the Eskimos.
Early call looks like holding against Edmonton. Bring it back.
Holding. Edmonton number 57. First down repeated.
Lancaster will not be happy with this lack of discipline on the part of the Eskimos.
Tracy Ham sitting back trying to hit out in the flat, but you can see Randy Ambrosie's got his hand around Kent Warnock's throat at this time. Gets the flag called on him.
So that makes it 1st and 20 from the 20-yard line. 20 seconds till halftime. Ham completes to Marshall. Marshall down to the 15-yard line by the middle linebacker, Alondra Johnson.
Terrific defensive theory on this part. They're looking at 2nd and 1st and 20 here. And again, play deep in the zone, make the Edmonton Eskimos throw the ball underneath, and then react up, stop them short of the first down, short of the goal line, and possibly force them to kick a field goal.
Well, I've got a timeout on the field. It is 2nd and 15 Eskimos from the 15-yard line. As we were saying, I'm sure that Ron Lancaster would like 7 points to add to his 15 going into the dressing room.
Conversely, as I said earlier, it's very important that if Edmonton Eskimos can score and change that momentum on the other side of the ball, if the Calgary Stampeders can stop Edmonton Eskimos here with a goose egg or even a field goal, that is a victory for them in this situation.
Should be time for a couple of more plays. 2nd and 15 Eskimos from the Stampeders 15. Ham under pressure, gets the pass away, in and out of the arms of Craig Ellis. Ellis was there, but he could not extend his body far enough to make solid contact with the ball. He got a piece of it, but couldn't hang on.
Tracy Ham doing a great job of buying more time, scrambling around inside, looking all over. Now his receivers, again, as I said, they have faith in Tracy to get open. Now they find the open spot. Craig Ellis does a tremendous job of trying to get his hands on that ball. But again, good defense by Darryl Hall.
Having game programs, please turn to the road holding ad.
So now what do you do? You're 3rd and 15. The ball's at the 15. Do you go with the sure 3 points from McAreedy, or do you fake it again?
I think right now the main thing that they need to do is a little bit of a momentum swing, and at least Edmonton Eskimos has to come away with something. And 3 points is a good, sure thing right now.
Remember the last time they lined up this deep in Stampeder territory to go for the field goal, they faked it. This attempt will come from the 22, if it is that. And this time, it hits the crossbar and bounces back into the field of play, but it is no field goal. McAreedy hits the upright with a 22-yarder, what would normally be a chip shot. Lancaster cannot believe it.
When things will go bad, they're all going bad. And again, unfortunately, this may show some reflection to McAreedy as he kicks the ball here, hits the left upright, just dead center. Sometimes you get a lucky bounce, it goes inside. This time, not a chance in favor of the Calgary Stampeders. But again, it comes back to that scenario of now he's the kicker that's commuting back and forth a little bit. And let's see how that's going to affect, obviously, his kicking through the course of this game.
And there goes the gun to end the first half of play here at McMahon Stadium. The Stampeders head for the dressing room, leading the Eskimos 24-15.
Welcome back to Calgary, where the Stampeders lead the Edmonton Eskimos 24-15. We are live at the half, and this is a busy Labor Day weekend, as it always is. Toronto in Hamilton to play the Tiger Cats. For a report on the game, let's go to Scott O.
All right, Scott Russell. Well, once upon a time, there was a team that had lost 8 in a row, fired its head coach, brought in somebody new just in time for a game against the team's most bitter rivals on Labor Day. And guess what? The Hamilton Ticats beat the Toronto Argonauts 48-24. That's the storyline of the Ticats' victory. John Gregory, how did you do it?
Well, I didn't do it. The players did it. All we did was put in a couple of different systems in the offense in the one day of practice we had, and then Mike Kerrigan called all of his plays today and just did a marvelous job.
Did you win this one on emotion, do you think?
Well, I think a lot of times when you have a new situation, a new coach, it's like starting a new team, and basically that's what we told them what we're doing today. This is our first game of the season, and we're undefeated going into today's game, and we're going on from here.
I want you to check out your reaction at the end of the game when your players decided victory was secure. You looked a bit shocked on the sidelines, but this is a shower you'd take any day, right?
Hey, I'll take one of those every day of the week. I'll guarantee you. That was great, and I appreciate it, and I just appreciate the acceptance of the assistant coaches here, and I appreciate the effort by the players.
A word on Mike Kerrigan, who was spectacular, I thought, today in a comeback game. Many people thought he was finished, but he clearly said today he's not. He's still sharp.
Well, I think that the big thing on Mike is try to give him a little confidence. Say, Mike, you're going to make or break yourself. You're calling your own plays, and we threw in a few plays, called a few plays during the day, but Kerrigan, he's the guy that did the job. And I agree. We lost both of our running backs during the game, and those two Canadian running backs, Schremeyer and Knight, did they do a great job in there running the football? I'm really pleased for all those guys. What a great effort.
All right, John Gregory, congratulations on a storybook start to your coaching tenure in Hamilton, and thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
All right, let's go upstairs now to Chris Cuthbert and Joe Galat.
Scott, as John mentioned, a lot of stars to talk about today. I thought this one was slipping away from the Ticats. Third quarter, Hamilton with the lead, or Toronto came back to take the lead, and they were driving in for more points, but John Moten came up with what I thought was the key play of the game.
Oh, he sure did. That right there, that was the most opportune interception you could ever ask for. Masadi was the intended receiver. Moten came right underneath the slant pattern, and look what he does with the ball after he catches it.
One of 2 interceptions in the game for John Moten, who ran one back for a touchdown against Ottawa last week, but these were even more important because they were key in the victory this afternoon over the Argonauts. Mike Kerrigan, what a story. He used all of his receivers, including the old-timer Rocky DiPietro.
Well, what do you say about the Rocky? You know, Rocky is Hamilton. When you think of Rocky DiPietro, you think of the Ticats. He drives down the field knowing that he's going to get the man coverage, breaks to the outside. What didn't show was that there was a blitz coming. The blitz never got there. Kerrigan delivered the ball on time. It's a touchdown.
So 21 wins for the Hamilton Tiger Cats now on Labor Day against the Argos in 25 starts. Tough to beat history.
Hey, football's a game of emotion. And when you get them emotionally pumped up, they can beat anybody on a given day, and this was the given day for the Ticats.
And for the first time this year, the Ticats really pumped up their fans as well, and I think we'll see more the next time they're back at Iverwin Stadium. Now, back down to Scott.
All right, Chris, 21 wins by the Ticats on Labor Day over the Argonauts, and this might have been the biggest of them, given it was preceded by 8 losses this season. These teams play the second half of this home-and-home series next Saturday night at Skydome in Toronto. We'll have the telecast, but right now, back to Scott Russell in Calgary.
Okay, Scott, the Tiger Cats now 1-8 in the CFL's Eastern Division. Up next from McMahon Stadium live at the half, Derek Crawford of the Stampeders as he returns from injury when we return to Calgary on the CFL on CBC. It is a classic Labor Day in Calgary. At halftime, Alberta's football rivals, the Stamps and Eskimos, take a break. Calgary leads by 9 after 30 minutes of play. Well, missing from this Labor Day Classic is one of the Stampeders' most outstanding offensive weapons. Number 83, wide receiver, Derek Crawford. They call him the Stealth, and he has been missed in spite of Calgary's recent success. Derek Crawford started 13 games in pursuit of Stampeder footballs in 1990. In the process, he set 8 club records and became the Stealth, Calgary's ultimate offensive weapon. But this year, a fractured right ankle has installed number 83 on the sidelines. Opening day, a completion in British Columbia. It's quite a catch, but the landing was painful to the man and to the team. Crawford was lost. Now the question is, can he come back?
Oh, I believe it. I know it will. Derek is starting to run already, and he feels very good in his mind. He's setting his goals on coming back, and he wants to be in Winnipeg to win the Grey Cup. So, yes.
Derek Crawford waiting in the wings to return and make a potent Calgary offense even more dangerous. Toronto has the Rocket. Calgary has the Stealth. He is number 83, Derek Crawford, but he's been missing since the first game of the season. Derek, what is the prognosis for your return?
Well, right now, everything is well, but we are trying to strengthen the ligament to bend. So right now, until it get totally strong and I feel comfortable with it, that's when we'll try to start doing a little bit more on it.
You set 8 club records last year for the Calgary Stampeders. A great individual year, but you didn't do well as a team in the playoffs. Are you frustrated that you cannot now help the team?
Yes, I am, which right now they don't need my help because they're doing very well right now, except, we lost 2, but right now we're ahead of this game here. So, but, my abilities, whenever I do come in, I just add my little part on until, whenever they decide they want to put me in all together.
This has been a great rivalry over the years, the Edmonton Eskimos, Calgary Stampeders. You're relatively new to it, but you have a lead at halftime. What will it take to hold on to that and to beat the Eskimos?
Well, I think, Edmonton has a good offense. They're capable of scoring anywhere on the field, but I think as a defensive and our offense will have to play together. And right now, we have played the offensive play one series, defense come out and play another, but I think we will have to put it all together, and when we put it all together, I think we'll come out on top.
Derek Crawford, thank you for your time, and good luck for your return. Derek Crawford of the Calgary Stampeders as he tries to return to the club. Right now, let's go upstairs and join Steve Armitage and Dan Kepler. Guys.
Thank you, Scott. Before this game began, we knew that the Calgary Stampeders would try to get the ball to Alan Pitts as often as they could. Now, the Eskimos also knew that, so Calgary changed things up a bit. And they went away from Pitts. They went to Bland and Pee Wee Smith as often as they could.
Great advice and great theory this time by Danny Barrett. Double coverage on inside with Alan Pitts, and then again it left one-on-one on the new cornerbacks of the Edmonton Eskimos. And Danny Barrett has taken pure advantage of that through the course of this first half.
And that's our play of the half. We've got Danny Barrett going to Carl Bland.
Coming back, Danny Barrett is just an out-and-up pattern. He takes a good pump fake to the out, lobs it up, and lets Bland do what he does best, and that's run underneath it and catch the ball. Was able to beat the cornerback in this position, and again, makes a terrific catch, keeps his feet in bounds, and that's a big turning point in this first half.
I kind of feel sorry for Parrish because they are really picking on him.
Well, they're going to pick on both of those corners, and again, that may be the point of what the Edmonton Eskimos have to do, is something that they don't like doing, and that's play zone defense. And if you play zone defense, you don't put those corners or the halfbacks in a tough position at one-on-one against great talented receivers like the Calgary Stampeders have.
A big problem for the Edmonton Eskimos. 3 times they got the ball down inside the 25-yard line, the Calgary Stampeders, and came away with nothing. You can't do that against a good club like Stampeders.
Absolutely. 2 ways of either the Calgary Stampeders doing something and the Edmonton Eskimos beating themselves, but that is a very defeated thing when you go in there and you come away with nothing, Steve.
Well, that's one thing that I'm sure that Ronnie Lancaster is talking to the Edmonton Eskimos about right now. But what do the Eskimos have to do coming out at the opening of this third quarter to get back in this game?
Get back to their game plan, get back to the short game, and cause some things to happen. Throw the ball downfield.
Okay, we're looking forward to an entertaining second half, and it's coming your way in just a moment.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Sport OV, real life beer. By GMC Truck. And by 7-Up. It's cool to be clear.
Rocky DiPietro is the CFL's all-time leading receiver. Teammate Earl Winfield has been the best of the Ticats this season. Next week, they drive down the Queen Elizabeth Way to complete a home-and-home series against the Argonauts, led by Matt Dunnigan. He has all sorts of weapons at his disposal, Darrell K. Smith among them. Hamilton at Toronto, Saturday on the CFL on CBC.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium, where the second half is just about to get underway as we look at the halftime stats, and who says they don't lie. Look at that. Net yards for the Edmonton Eskimos, 248 yards, yards passing 187, 3 turnovers, yet it's the Calgary Stampeders who lead 24-15. Play selection, Edmonton and Calgary both preferring the pass to the rush.
Drive responsibly, drink responsibly.
And there's a man who I'm sure had some words to say to his troops at halftime, certainly regards to finishing off the drives. Thomas. And he gets up across the 41-yard line, so the Edmonton Eskimos will have pretty good field position to start the second half with. A 48-yard kick and a 15-yard return from Thomas.
Comes back, shows the pass distribution of Tracy Ham, throwing 48% to the wideouts, equally to the slots at 33, and got to get to the backs. So what he needs to do now, he's got fairly balanced, but he may want to throw a little bit more to Reggie Taylor to open up his game.
1st and 10 Eskimos from the 42-yard line. Quick pass to David Williams is complete. Williams can't get away from his man. He's dropped at the 50-yard line. Carl Anthony just wasn't going to let go, because had he let go, Williams was gone. There was nobody behind him.
Carl Anthony would not have been seeing anything but David Williams' elbows as he runs around. Good little hitch curl pattern inside. What Anthony does is that he tries to make the tackle inside of David Williams. Stay to the outside, force him back inside, where you see that help from the Calgary Stampeder. Pursuit is going to close it down.
A gain of 8 on the play, so it's 2nd and 2. The ball resting at the 50. They give to the big man, Blake Marshall, and Marshall does not have the first down. In fact, he may lose a yard. Will Johnson and Stu Laird combining on the play to bring down Blake Marshall.
Tremendously inspired Calgary defense right now, particularly right at the close of the second half. Blake Marshall tries to go out there. These guys are swarming, led by Will Johnson, and stops a big bull fullback in Blake Marshall to no gain.
And that brings on Ray McAreedy. No match for Matic in the punting department so far in this one. 49-yard average compared to 27.5 for McAreedy, who may be kicking himself out of a job. Not a bad punt this time. Will be taken by Smith at the 20. And Smith gets up to the 23-yard line, where he's dropped by Jed Roberts.
By McAreedy, 5-yard return by Pee-wee Smith.
Jed Roberts is a big key for this Edmonton specialty teams. Outside linebacker and also a stand-up defensive lineman that he can be able to get in there and perform very well. Danny Barrett again showing 12 for 22, 138 yards. But the big thing, 2 touchdowns, 2 big touchdowns in the first half.
24-15 the score. Stampeders 1st and 10 from their own 23. Third quarter just nicely underway here at McMahon Stadium. Barrett under pressure from Bass. Bass got a piece of him as he got rid of the ball, and a flag goes down. And Danny Bass is bouncing around. Can't believe that the flag went down.
Major foul. Roughing the quarterback. Edmonton number 91. First down.
Brett Williams called for roughing the quarterback. The Toaster got that name when he played for the Montreal Alouettes. Used to run the ball. Also a linebacker. Hurt you both sides of the ball.
Questionable call right here at this time. Danny Bass got the ankles around Danny Barrett. Danny's trying to still throw the ball downfield. Has not hit the ground yet. The Toaster can't hold up from that position when he's coming in to close. Danny Barrett has mixed his passes fairly well, except to the backs, and they have not played any part in the passing game.
1st and 10 from the 38. And that time they tried to get a running game going, but Larry Ruck wasn't buying any of that. Tremendous hit.
You won't get a running game going like that running into him. Kevan Jenkins will feel every bit of that right from the chin right down to the ankles. Larry Ruck plays the run extremely well. Very strong, physical guy at about 220 pounds. Here he just lays the shoulder right into Kevan.
A gain of 1 by Kevan Jenkins, 2nd and 9 from the 39. Barrett. Complete to Bland. That was their bread and butter play in the first half. Doug Parrish once again being picked upon by the Stampeders. That moves the chains. A 20-yard gain for the Stampeders.
Danny Barrett fakes the toss to the right side and sprints out. Number 88, Bills, will come in and make a good block on the corner. But again, Danny Barrett has all the time he wants to throw to the wide out here. Again, playing really soft and Parrish.
It's now 1st and 10 Calgary from the Edmonton 51. Quick pass is blocked, but it's pulled in by Pee-wee Smith. Good concentration for the Calgary Stampeders. It's one of those days when everything is falling into place.
Again, as you said, Steve, tremendous concentration. The one thing a defensive lineman is told to do, and Brent Williams, is once that quarterback takes a 2 or 3 step drop, as soon as you get the hands up, you stop, get your hands up high. Brent Williams makes the contact on the ball, but Pee-wee Smith does a good job of concentrating and looking that in for a big reception.
That is not one play that's in the playbook, I can guarantee you that. It is now 2nd and 3 Stampeders. Barrett, complete to Pitts. Pitts down at the 33-yard line.
To Alan Pitts.
David Shelton brings him down.
10 yards on the play. Another Stampeder first down. David Shelton on the coverage for the Eskimos.
Danny Barrett doing a great job of mixing the ball across the board. Sprints out to his left, wants to throw back. Pitts is lined up as the right slot back, throws back across into the zone, who's playing one-on-one against David Shelton. Shelton gave him plenty of room, and Pitts will play pitch and catch with Barrett all day long.
1st and 10 from the 32. Barrett completes the pass. But is it intercepted? A flag goes down. He got it to McVeigh. McVeigh had it for a while, but
and there is a flag.
We'll have to see what the flag brings us. We get the call from referee Dave Ewell.
The flag went right at the point of attack with Willie Pless against McVeigh, but I don't think that's going to be the call. They're talking to Danny Bass, the captain of the Edmonton Eskimos. We'll listen to Dave Ewell right now.
Ineligible receiver, Calgary number 34, first down repeated.
This is the second time they've been called with McVeigh on an ineligible receiver. The last time was a big screen pass. They dumped it off to it that really nullified a big gain.
Penalties hurting both sides, especially the Stampeders. 1st and 20 now from the 42. And this time Barrett is dumped by the Eskimo defense. Benny Goods leading the way for Edmonton.
A loss of 11 yards on the play. 2nd down, Stampeders.
That kind of defense is as good as any offense.
Different play selection here. Danny Barrett's trying to throw just a little swing screen pass out to Kevan Jenkins, and what those offensive linemen do is allow the defensive guys to. Danny Barrett has to get rid of the pass quicker, but he couldn't because Leroy Blue was all over Kevan Jenkins.
It is now 2nd and 29 from the 51. Calgary moving the ball, but in the wrong direction. Barrett gets it away, complete to Pitts. Pitts short of the first down, made the catch at the 31-yard line. David Shelton made the tackle. They had to get down to the 22 to keep the drive alive.
Danny Barrett buying time as he comes out to the left, but Pitts goes outside, turns, looks for Danny Barrett, sees that he's in trouble. Now what he has to do is try to find the open spot, and what Larry Ruck needs to do is find out where Alan Pitts is. Takes a hit right here again by Brent Williams. That's the second time this shot has been happening, and it looks like it could be some problems with the throwing finger.
The toaster burned Danny Barrett with that hit. That's his throwing hand. Looks like his finger on that right hand has suffered some kind of injury. The toaster is fired up. He is cooking. 3rd and 9, and that brings on Mark McLaughlin. A 43.5-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. So the Calgary Stampeders don't come away with the 7 points, but they managed to put 3 on the board and now lead the Eskimos 27-15.
It's available September.
They're working on the finger of Danny Barrett, who was injured on the last play, and if Barrett can't do it, Steve Taylor, the backup quarterback, will be called upon by the Stampeders. McLaughlin kicks off following that 38-yard field goal. Gizmo lets it bounce, and that's a bad mistake on the part of the Giz. It goes out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
A mistake that he did correct it himself, that once that ball hit the turf, he saw that it was bouncing toward the sidelines. He didn't try to field it, allowed it to bounce outside, and then we'll get a re-kick.
I think it's a mistake anytime the Giz doesn't scoop up the ball and run with it.
It's a cardinal sin, as you say, Steve. As soon as that ball's kicked, you don't let it hit the turf. You make sure that you field it in the air.
So they'll move it back to the 30-yard line. Concerned Ron Lancaster looking on. His team down 27-15. 9:12 remaining to play in the 3rd quarter.
Should get great field position right here. The kicks have not been going that deep, and again, it's going to be good field position.
The Giz at the 20. He's at the 30. Still on his feet, and he gets up to the 43-yard line where Darcy Conn brings down the Giz. A 60-yard kick and a 23-yard return from the Giz. Tracy Ham will go to work for the Edmonton Eskimos and try to get a drive that they can finish in the end zone. As we mentioned, 3 times they were inside the Calgary 25-yard line and came away empty. Those are the stats for Ham. 1st and 10 from the 43. Fires over the middle, complete to Taylor. And Taylor gets to the 54-yard line. Darrell Hall hangs on as Taylor drags him forward.
Great read by Tracy here, where he reads one-on-one Reggie Taylor against Savage, the linebacker. It's a mismatch. There's no way that Savage can keep up with Reggie Taylor. Reads him, beats him to the inside. Tracy dumps the ball very quickly. It's a big game.
1st and 10. The ball now at the 54-yard line. And again, it's Taylor. This time has difficulty getting back to the line of scrimmage. Walter Ballard and Matt Finley reading that one well and executing perfectly.
2nd down.
Danny Barrett has the right hand in ice, and that is not good news for the Calgary Stampeders and their fans.
Tremendous asset with Steve Taylor coming in today. He's got some experience, and he ran the offense last week very well for Calgary.
2nd and 10 for the Eskimos. Ham trying to find Marco Sinkar. And Kenton Leonard was defending on the play and not allowing Sinkar to get back to that ball.
3rd down, Eskimos.
So once again, the Edmonton Eskimos forced to punt the ball.
Big thing that Coach Wally Bono and his defensive staff have got to be happy with is that they're getting tremendous amount of pressure on Tracy Ham with just the front force. They're not having to bring their linebackers as much as the Edmonton Eskimos are against Danny Barrett.
So Ray McAreedy will get this a punt away from his 45-yard line, but not before they attend to Ambrosi. Hurt on the play.
rides the C train to Stampeder games and win a trip to the 1991.
Randy Ambrosi had a knee injury and some surgery last year. Came back very, very strong at the beginning of the year. Hopefully that's not the case here.
Let's go down to the sidelines to Scott Russell.
On track and on time.
Well, Steve, the word on Danny Barrett is that he has dislocated a finger in his throwing hand. The Stampeder training staff tells me that Danny Barrett is going to be kept out of the game, so that's bad news for the Stampeders. A dislocated finger on Danny Barrett's throwing hand. Back up to you, Steve.
Thank you, Scott. Danny Barrett, of course, injured in the first of back-to-back games against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Shook that off, and now this, a dislocated finger on his throwing hand. McAreedy. Pee-wee Smith looking for running room on the outside. He finds some. Still on his feet. Excellent return from Pee-wee Smith down to the 42-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Finally, it was Brian Walling who was downfield to make the stop. The Stamps lead the Eskimos 27-15.
Steve Taylor now.
Danny Barrett is out of the game with a dislocated finger on his throwing hand, so that means that Steve Taylor will take over at quarterback. He's had a little bit of experience with the Stampeders so far this season. There you see his statistics. The Stampeders are 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. Make that the 45. And Taylor elects to run with his first possession. He has the first down. Still going. Finally forced out of bounds at the 23-yard line of the Eskimos.
This is the greatest asset that Steve Taylor has right now. One, there's got to be some thrill involved in playing against his old teammates, the Edmonton Eskimos. But Steve Taylor is a running quarterback, option type out of the University of Nebraska. Tremendous speed, and you see number 85, Bland, come in there, Carl, with a great block. And Danny Barrett on the sideline with that dislocated right wing is excited. He's the biggest cheerleader right now, and he's in Steve Taylor's corner.
Terrence Jones elected to go elsewhere, so that elevated Steve Taylor to the backup position. I'm sure he's quite pleased with that move right now. Play is blown down before the Stampeders were able to get the play off, or at least complete the play.
Flag on the play.
Time count violation. Calgary number 1. First down repeated.
Well, that perhaps is the inexperience of Steve Taylor taking too long in getting the play off. I know that these plays are coming in from the Calgary bench. They'll be calling all the plays for Taylor. It is now 1st and 15 from the 28-yard line. And again, little premature action. He gives to Keevan Jenkins. Jenkins tries to get outside. Does. Gets down to the 26-yard line. Brett Williams there to force him out of play. But I've got a feeling this could be illegal motion. Offside.
Edmonton defense right now wants to get after Steve Taylor. He's a new quarterback. He's a young quarterback. He's just coming in there. He's not warmed up very good. Let's put some heat on him and see how he reacts under the heat.
Offside. Edmonton number 91. First down repeated.
The great thing that Steve Taylor can do is that he can react, and he can run, and he can throw the ball. He's got probably a stronger arm than Danny Barrett has in throwing the ball. And the one thing is, he's much more mobile.
Just in case you were keeping count, 23 penalties so far in the game. And that doesn't include the ones that were declined. Taylor puts it up. Tremendous catch by Sean Beals.
When they talk about Bull Durham and the show, welcome to the show, folks, because this is it. Steve Taylor reads the man-to-man coverage. John Bill with a tremendous Houdini one-handed catch against Enos Jackson, the Iron Man in the secondary of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Sean Beals with a circus-like catch, one-handing that. And then McLaughlin is good on the point after. That all adds up to Calgary in front of the Eskimos now by a count of 34-15. Yes, indeed. The fans here at McMahon Stadium have something to cheer about.
Steve Taylor comes out and sprints to the left, reads the man-to-man. Danny Bass is coming on the blitz. Inside, he knows that he's got one-on-one coverage, and he gets Enos Jackson matched up with Sean Beals. Again, goes, throws the ball. Mike Walker just welcomes him back to the game a little bit, and you watch the reaction of Steve Taylor after that touchdown catch. He says, yeah, stick it in your face, Edmonton.
And he did with a great touchdown pass. This is the Gizmo, and the Gizmo gets up to the 40-yard line. So the Eskimos will have good field position, a 58-yard kick, and a 23-yard return from the Giz. 4 plays, 45 yards. It took him a minute and 14 seconds, and that man, Sean Beals, with a one-hand grab, makes it 34-15 favor the Stampeders. 1st and 10 from the 40. Tracy Ham trying to find Marco Sincar, incomplete.
Ham pass, incomplete.
Again, the pressure from the Calgary Stampeders defense is good.
Serious concern on Ron Lancaster's face right now. One thing is he looks over the clock, it's running out on him. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
But this man can make things happen. Tracy Ham gets the pass away complete to Jim Sandusky. And Sandusky brought down at the midfield stripe by Carl Anthony. That's good for the first down.
Steve, you're absolutely right. Tracy has the ability to make a lot of big things happen in a very short period of time. If I'm not mistaken, that may be Sandusky's first catch or even his second catch of the day. Hasn't been a favorite. Second catch hasn't been a favorite target of Tracy Ham.
1st and 10 from the midfield stripe. Again, Ham sprinting out, this time to the left, firing deep. And it's incomplete. Junior Thurman was doing an outstanding job on David Williams. He took the inside away from him, and that's what you want from your defender.
Tracy Ham, if there had been any kind of knocks against him, has been that he has not been a patient quarterback. He tries to get everything back all at one time. And again, that will work to obviously the advantage of the Calgary Stampeders. And Ronnie Lancaster is trying to figure out, how do I calm him down? And if you're only allowing nickel and dime stuff, take it.
2nd and 10 on the 55. Oh, a tremendous defensive move by Darrell Hall. Craig Ellis was open, but at the last second, Hall stuck up his hand and knocked it down.
The matchup that we called earlier in the part of the game to see Craig Ellis on the inside slot, lines up, takes a good release on the outside, has Darrell Hall beat to the outside, but here you show great speed and recovery time and leaping ability as Darrell Hall gets up to knock the pass down.
And again, that brings on Ray McAready as Darrell Hall accepts congratulations from his teammate. On the 45, good high spiral. Bland. And Bland gets to the 12-yard line where Jed Roberts brings him down. Stampeders on top of the Eskimos, 34-15.
Are looking up for the Calgary Stampeders. They have a big lead on Edmonton deep into the 3rd quarter of this Labor Day Classic. There is also talk of a sale being completed. One of the men mentioned, Larry Rickman, has told us that there will be a press conference sometime this week, perhaps as early as Wednesday, and he is sounding very positive about a sale of the Calgary Stampeders. Looks good, Steve.
Well, that combined with a victory here this afternoon would be excellent news for the Stampeders and their fans. They've had plenty to cheer about here at McMahon Stadium, and maybe later this week with the press conference from Mr. Rickman, they'll have even more to cheer about. The team on sound financial footing at long last. 1st and 10, Stampeders from their own 12. The pitch to Kevan Jenkins. He cuts it up, gets across the 15-yard line. Have to get to the 23 for the first down.
Kevan showing no ill effects of that hit that Larry Ruck gave him earlier in the
Well, you would think that there might have been some high-scoring games between these two teams on Labor Day in the past, but no, not really. Only twice have they gone over 30 points. It's 34-15. Favors Stampeders. Taylor finds Pitts. And Pitts does not have the first down, but a flag is down at the 10-yard line. Trent Brown was covering on the play for the Eskimos. Illegal motion against the Stampeders. A sigh of relief on the face of Ron Lancaster. Hasn't had much to smile about with his Eskimos this
Procedure. Calgary number 66 declines. Third down.
That's the 15th penalty against the Stampeders. And a total of 140 yards. Their all-time record is 21 penalties. And that occurred in 91 against Winnipeg. Blocked, and a flag is down. Maddich was contacted. Gizmo tries to field the ball at the midfield stripe, but this could be roughing the kicker, and I believe it is. They got in too close on the punter, Brent Maddich.
Coming in, they're coming all out, trying to make something happen with the specialty team. Murphy makes the contact with him, tries to hold him up, nothing really serious. But again, you can't make any type of contact with this guy. And these guys are pretty good actors at the same thing. Go down.
Are you suggesting that kickers are a breed apart, a breed unto themselves?
Well, I had the pleasure of playing with a guy like Dave Cutler for a long time, and he holds a number of Oscars on his wall for performances.
Well, David was a little different.
All kickers are a little different.
First and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 29. This is Taylor. Puts it up. And he was firing way over the head of the intended receiver, Carl Bland. But another flag is down.
Flag on the play.
Making a little guess here. It looks like Steve Taylor sprints out to his left. We may have pass
Edmonton
interference.
number 19. First down.
That pass interference against number 19, which is Shelton, against Alan Pitts.
Eskimos, Mike Walker.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders are moving the football by way of the penalty flags.
Normie Kwong, president of Calgary Stampeders.
That's Mike Walker, the wily veteran, down.
Thank you for your support. Don't forget the next game.
One-on-one matchup here. Shelton against Alan Pitts. It's just absolutely like a gang fight in here. And Shelton is all over him as the ball's in the air and gets the call.
The Pepper 15.
Taylor releases the ball. Leroy Blue just welcomes him back again. Leroy Blue, one of the best athletes on the Edmonton Eskimos, but you can bet your buns that Steve Taylor would get up off of that hit and stay in there because he wants to play against the Edmonton Eskimos. Reading some in the paper today, did not have some very favorable things to say about the Eskimos and Hugh Campbell.
It's 2-8-5.
Mike Walker in obvious pain down on the artificial turf here at McMahon Stadium. They're working on his left leg.
Congratulations.
Looks to be just above the ankle area. You know, when Ronnie Lancaster was in the broadcast booth, he always liked Mike Walker, and you know that he was happy when he took over the Eskimos job to have somebody like Mike Walker. I don't know whether I'd have that guy on my team, the bleacher creature. Looks like something from a swamp.
They do things a little differently down here in Calgary.
Scott Russell.
Steve, one of the big problems with the Edmonton Eskimo attack today has been the play of Craig Ellis, or the lack of play. Only one catch for 30 yards now. Craig was complaining of a cold yesterday in the hotel when we saw him. We've seen him on the bench hacking today, so that could be affecting his running ability. Craig Ellis not having a good day for the Eskimos. Steve?
And Tracy Ham hasn't gone to Craig Ellis that often this afternoon. Not that Ellis has been open to receive any of the passes from Tracy Ham.
Mike Walker going off the field on his own. Looks like he's okay. Should be back. Edmonton Eskimos obviously being behind. Do not want to lose a key defensive player like Mike Walker right now.
First and 10. Taylor puts it out. Complete to Pee Wee Smith. And Smith fumbles out of bounds. Calgary retained possession at the 52-yard line. Danny Bass and Doug Parrish covering on the play.
Had not Danny Bass been in great pursuit of Pee Wee Smith, that could have gone for a lot longer. Steve Taylor comes back, throws the quick hitch pass out here, 2-step, 3-step drop, rifles it, but you can see number 14 as Parrish comes outside. You got to be under control, break down, make that tackle, or else can't count on your middle linebacker to come make it from that angle.
1st and 10, Stampeders from the 52. Taylor sprinting to the right. Has some space, elects to keep it. And he'll get 8 yards.
Taylor
has to jump over the Eskimos bench.
Gain of 7 yards on the play.
Must have been a hurdler sometime in his college career.
As good an athlete as Steve Taylor is, he could be anything he wants to be. Comes out there trying to look downfield and throw the ball. The great thing about the Edmonton defense that they do is that they stay disciplined enough to make Steve Taylor cross the line of scrimmage before they make an attempt to close the gap on him.
Picked up just over 7 yards, so make it 2nd and 3 from the 50. Stampeders lead 34-15 late in the 3rd quarter. Taylor under pressure, gets it away, looking for Carl Bland over the middle. Taylor was going to the right, Bland was going down the middle, so that was a tough throw for Taylor, and he just overthrew the intended receiver, Carl Bland.
Steve Taylor just feeling that 6th sense behind him that he's got to get rid of the ball, because you can see Leroy Blue just barreling down on him. Leroy Blue has been in the face of Steve Taylor 2 or 3 times already since he's been in this game.
And we told you that should Steve Taylor go down, Bob Torrance, the former University of Calgary quarterback, will get the call from Wally Buono. But this is a punting situation. Matic, end over end kick. Gizmo at the 6. And Gizmo is dropped at a 8 or 9 yard line by Matt Finley. Good downfield coverage once again by the special teams of the Calgary Stampeders, not allowing Gizmo any running room at all. A 44-yard punt and a 3-yard return for the Giz.
Great challenge by the coverage team of the Calgary Stampeders to be able to corral a guy like Gizmo. If you are disciplined, you stay in your lanes, you have containment, and you force him upfield to where the pursuit is going to be, and that's exactly what happened there. And Matt Finley was the pursuit that got in there and made a big tackle.
1st and 10 for the Eskimos from their own 9. They need some offense. Reggie Taylor not going to give it to them that way. Taylor barely crossed the line of scrimmage before he ran into the arms of Walter Ballard.
Remember the last time that Tracy Ham was deep in his own zone. At this point, he came out, he threw the long pass to David Williams, trying to catch Calgary, maybe in a zone defense, trying to prevent against that, running the ball in the quick slant draw inside, but Howard Ballard is not having anything to do with that.
2nd and 9. Ham sprinting right. Has a lot of space, has the first down. Ham forced out of play at the 33-yard line. Matt Finley and Carl Anthony managing to get to Tracy Ham and prevent Ham from getting any further downfield after picking up 23 yards.
Tracy Ham trying to get outside, wants to throw the ball to the out to David Williams, but there's good coverage downfield. And again, here's what he's done all his career and done extremely well, is run the ball and pick up the first down, keep the drive alive.
Fairly close in the passing department between these two teams. Ham trying to add to that total. Going long to Sandusky, and Sandusky has it at the 33-yard line. And a flag is down, but I think it's going to be pass interference against the Stampeders' Carl Anthony, who was defending on the play. A 44-yard pickup.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 19. Decline. First down.
You bet they're going to decline it.
Exactly right. Sandusky showing you he really does have good speed. Blows by Anthony just at the last minute. Gets a little separation there with his left hand, but shows great concentration on looking the ball in.
Big advance for the Eskimos. 1st and 10 from the Stampeders 33. Ham again going deep to Williams. And it's over the head of Williams. Williams pointing back to Carl Anthony and suggesting that he was interfered on the play again by Anthony.
Anthony makes a little contact with Williams downfield, but not enough to be caught. Again, Tracy Ham has had 3 or 4 receivers wide open downfield and has overthrown him by probably 4 or 5 yards every time.
Again, as you pointed out earlier, that could be Tracy's lack of patience. He wants to get it done as quickly as possible and therefore looks for the deepest receiver, and that time it was David Williams. 2nd and 10 Eskimos from the 33-yard line. Ham with some room. Ham has the first down. Walter Ballard made the stop.
Tackled by Walter Ballard after a gain of 12 yards.
When we come back, the Eskimos will continue their drive. They trail 34-15. Steve Armitage along with Dan Kepley. We've got Scott Russell down on the sidelines. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Edmonton have the ball to start this final quarter. 1st and 10 from the 20. Ham under pressure. Ham gets it away, but David Williams and Craig Ellis were both in the area, but it falls in between them. The pressure that time coming from Kent Warnick and Will Johnson, who were pursuing Tracy Ham to the right sideline. Again,
Tempers flaring. Exactly out there. You can see Alondro Johnson in there. He's going to have a few things to say, and it's a lot easier to say things when you're leading.
Let's check the stats through 3 quarters of play. Stampeders putting a few more yards on the board, evening things up. But again, those 3 turnovers costly for the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Eskimos' inability to do something once they get inside the 25-yard line. Now they're going to march him back. Here's the call.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 22. 2nd down.
Blake Marshall, the guilty party for the Edmonton Eskimos. So that moves it back to the 35-yard line, where it's now 2nd and 35.
Blake Marshall, just a tremendous asset for the Edmonton Eskimos. He's the kind of guy that could play on any football team, anywhere, at any year, any century kind of thing. And he's the one that you would like to have on there. Obviously, there's some tempers flaring out there. And again, he's not one to take anything off anybody.
Once again, penalties proving very costly to both the Eskimos and the Stampeders. Just when it appeared the Eskimos had something going, the drive is nullified by the penalty. Let's see what Tracy Ham can do now. An obvious passing situation, and the heat is on. Ham puts it down, and Thurman was defending against Jim Sandusky, but again, a flag is down at the 25-yard line.
And there is a flag.
Thurman went up for it, and he got a shove from Jim Sandusky from behind.
4th pass interference. Calgary number 30. 1st down.
Kenton Leonard, the guilty party for the Stampeders. So a break for the Edmonton Eskimos. Gives them 1st and 10 from the Stampeders' 25.
Certainly was a break, Steve, because that play happened way on the other side, away from the ball.
Stamps lead 34-15. Eskimos need some points. Ham is going long. Williams open. Touchdown, Edmonton! And that gives the fans who've made the trip from Edmonton reason to cheer. The Eskimos finally able to put some points on the board once they got inside the 25.
Comes back. They isolate Dave Williams out there all by himself. One-on-one against Anthony, and he blows by him. The ball slightly underthrown, but Williams does a great job of adjusting to come back to it. Poorly played as far as the secondary was concerned, as far as getting up and trying to knock the ball down.
The 8th touchdown reception this season for Williams. Maccariti puts it through the uprights for the extra point. And we have got a 34-22 ball game. Favor the Stampeders, but as you might expect, yes, indeedy, we have another flag down on the field at the 10-yard line.
It ain't over till it's over, baby. It ain't over till it's over.
Not hard to pick out the Eskimo fans in attendance here at McMahon Stadium today, all decked out in those.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 81. Single point stands. Penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
Will Johnson. Unnecessary roughness. Let's take another look at this TD pass.
Tracy
to Williams.
Tracy comes straight back, and here you see the separation where all of a sudden Anthony loses complete contact with Dave Williams and has no idea where he is, and enable that, Dave Williams makes a great adjustment to come back and make the catch.
Took them 2 minutes and 41 seconds. The play covered 101 yards, 8 plays, and Tracy Ham putting it in the end zone for the major score. And the way things have gone in the CFL this year, Dan Kepley, this one is far from finished. We've got just over 14 minutes to play, and the Eskimos only trail 34-22.
It ain't over till it's over. Here's Randy Ambrosi, who was slow going off again, has a little bit of a limp in his walk. Hopefully he's not having too much trouble with that knee, but this is the second time he's left the game.
Well, it was Yogi Berra who said it ain't over till it's over. I didn't know Dan Kepley said that. 86, Pee Wee Smith does an 86 with the ball, but manages to hang on. Gets to the 27-yard line. Mike McLean is there to meet him. Pee Wee Smith can't believe that he mishandled the ball that badly. A 47-yard kick and a 13-yard return from number 86.
Very lucky that time to be able to keep control of it. Had that happened there, Edmonton Eskimos would have been in a great field position.
Well, I think that was the name of the game, and kicking it the way they did make it tough to handle, and it was. 1st and 10, Calgary from their own 28. Taylor. Complete to Keevan Jenkins, and Jenkins, the moment he had the ball, was hit by David Shelton. And it looks as if Keevan is shaken up on the play.
This is the second time Keevan's taken a real serious hit out there. David Shelton waiting in the flat in his own area. Again, Keevan may have to go back to the huddle and say, hey, Steve, didn't you see that halfback out there waiting for me? Don't throw me the ball. Looks back here, and David Shelton is a very powerful halfback. Actually, he was a little heavier, probably about 10 or 12 pounds heavier 2 weeks ago, but he lost some weight when he moved from safety to halfback.
2nd and 7, Calgary from their own 31. Flag is down, and the play is blown down before Steve Taylor can get the pass away.
Time count violation. Calgary number 1.
Again, the inexperience of the young quarterback coming through, taking too long to get the play underway.
Again, that takes a little bit of time coming from the sideline. Maybe he's really concentrating because Coach John Huffnagel is signaling those plays that he wants run, and Steve Taylor wants to make sure that he runs and calls exactly as John Huffnagel calls.
2nd and 12 from the 26. Taylor sprinting to his right, under pressure. Gets it away. There is nobody there. Throws it out of bounds, but there is no flag down. One time when I thought there should have been for intentional grounding. Willie Pless and Benny Goods applying good pressure on Taylor.
Good heat up front again. Willie Pless coming in from the middle, going in, and Benny Good coming from the outside. You've got to get upfield on a guy like Steve Taylor, get to his outfield shoulders, and again, make him turn inside. Pitcher John Huffnagel having a conversation with Wally Bono on the side, talking about how are we going to relate their offensive scheme in there.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos defense has done the job, and so has managed. Tremendous punt. This is the Giz. And the Giz gets to the 41-yard line. The Edmonton Eskimos will have the ball. The last time they had it, they put 7 points on the board, but the Stamps still lead 34-22. This Saturday, Saturday, the CFL on CBC has the return match. Hamilton in Toronto at the Sky Dome against the Argos. That's a 7:30 start time, Eastern time. And then on Sunday, we've got another great matchup for you. Doug Flutie and the Lions in Ottawa against Damon Allen and the Ottawa Rough Riders. The Ottawa Rough Riders trying for 5 in a row. So 2 great games coming your way this weekend. Don Whitman will be back in the booth from his outstanding work at the World Athletic Track and Field Championships. We'll take a look at the line score. Calgary putting points on the board in every quarter, except this one so far. That time, Tracy Ham looking for Reggie Taylor, incomplete.
Intended for Taylor, incomplete. Savage on the coverage for the Stampeders.
He comes back again, had the exact matchup that he wants. Reggie Taylor one-on-one against the outside linebacker Savage. Taylor had him beat. Tracy just overthrew, but it didn't look like Reggie was really expecting that ball to be thrown to him.
2nd and 10 for the Eskimos from the 41. Gets the pass away, looking for Craig Ellis, and again it's overthrown. Darrell Hall defending on Ellis, but Ellis was behind him, but he was unable to get to the ball. But again, Tracy Ham forced to get the ball away, perhaps before he wanted to.
Ellis working one-on-one here. He got exactly the coverage that he wants because they blitzed the halfback Leonard, and again, Tracy had him open, but just overthrew him by a few yards.
A punting situation brings on Ray McAreedy. He'll get this punt away from the 30-yard line. A bad punt from McAreedy. And it's taken by Pee Wee Smith, but he has no room in which to turn it upfield. Goes out of bounds, but excellent field position for Steve Taylor and the Calgary Stampeders. A 27-yard punt, you can call it that, from McAreedy, and a 3-yard return from Smith.
The purchase of a large pizza from any Boston pizza restaurant.
Again, John Hufnagel and the mascots are having a heck of a lot of fun over here. Charlie the horse is just absolutely doing what maybe the Calgary Stampeders are doing to the Edmonton Eskimos on the field. John Hufnagel has had to have some conversation with Steve Taylor on the sideline.
Well, let's see if that conversation pays off. Taylor has difficulty getting back to the original line of scrimmage. Mike Walker saw to that.
Good job by Mike Walker, showing really no ill effects right now of that knee or thigh injury that he walked off earlier in the 3rd quarter.
They lose 2 yards on the play. It's 2nd and 12. The Stampeders have the ball at their own 42-yard line. They lead 34-22. 11 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Taylor with time. Fires complete to Carl Bland, but a flag is down.
Carl Bland.
Bland did not get the first down. He had to get to the 55-yard line. Eddie Thomas was covering on the play.
Gain of 6 yards on the play.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 89. First down.
Leroy Blue is called for pass interference, and that will give the Stampeders the first down.
You can say Bills just absolutely levels him right there. Number 88 would be Bills, and Leroy Blue gets called for the big interference.
1st and 10 Stampeders from their own 54-yard line. Taylor eludes the pressure, completes the pass to Pitts. And Pitts had the first down. Depends where they mark it. Yes, he will have the first down at the 45-yard line. Enos Jackson there defending for the Eskimos.
And a Stampeder first down.
Pitts comes off the line, comes all the way across the field. And Steve Taylor has plenty of time to see him, eludes Larry Ruck up the field, and Alan Pitts keeps working and working, makes a great reception and keeps the drive alive.
Give Pitts the edge in the battle against Dallas. Here's T-Van, he could go! Touchdown, T-Van Jenkins.
Touchdown, 45 yards. It's time to see if you want a Stampeders
Straight dive handoff off the right side, running behind McVeigh. And also there's Blanchard and Fairbanks. Keevan, there's nobody there. I don't know where the safety for the Eskimos was. And this time he just uses great speed and burst, and he's into the end zone for a major 6 points.
And the point after by Mark McLaughlin is good. A 45-yard touchdown run by Keevan Jenkins. We expected Reggie Taylor to be the running story in this game, but Keevan with this run has just stolen the headlines.
Good block with the middle linebacker Danny Bass coming in. When it does, it vacates the whole area. Not much effort by Enos Jackson coming across, trying to make a tackle on that point. And when you turn around, you see Steve Taylor again. The second time he gets to celebrate. He's got a very happy quarterback, particularly scoring points against the old guys.
The old guys.
The old,
really appreciate that.
The old guys, meaning the old teammates. The Edmonton Eskimos.
So right away. 4 plays, 66 yards, just under 2 minutes. That's what it took for the Stampeders to do the damage. This is the Giz, and the Giz gets up to the 34-yard line.
By Mark McLaughlin.
Darcy caught downfield to make the tackle, a 70-yard kickoff and a 29-yard return for the Giz.
Very impressed with Calgary's coverage teams, both on kickoff return, kickoff coverage, and also punt coverage of containing the Gizmo and stopping him and keeping him in very tough field position most of the day.
9:40 to play, fourth quarter. Edmonton in a big hole. They trail 41-22. But they're 1st and 10 from the 34. They give to Reggie Taylor, and Taylor isn't even touched. He trips over the 35-yard line.
The ball carrier gained 3, covered by Will Johnson.
Good look at Keevan Jenkins on the sideline. That's a happy fellow right there. Big score at a great opportunity.
We've always known he had the speed. What he lacks sometimes is consistency. 2nd and 7 situation, and it's incomplete. And again, the Calgary defense have done their job.
Third down,
They have
Eskimos.
stymied Tracy Ham and the Eskimos offense. Edmonton coming off a big loss to Saskatchewan. Calgary coming off back-to-back losses to Winnipeg. So both teams have plenty of motivation going into this game, to say nothing of the Battle of Alberta and football bragging rights in this part of Western Canada. Could have an onside man. Eddie Thomas is on the right side. McAreedy gets the punt away, and it goes out of bounds at the midfield stripe, but again a flag is down. Eddie Thomas was lined up wide right as an onside man.
Contacting the kicker. Calgary number 86.
Pee Wee Smith guilty of contacting the kicker, Ray McAreedy. 41-22 the score, favor the Stampeders. 8:44 to play, fourth quarter. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, and the second half of our CFL doubleheader on CBC this afternoon. The Stampeders leading the Eskimos 41-22, but the Eskimos have the ball. They're 2nd and 6 at the Stampeders' 44-yard line. Tracy Ham sprinting out, gets the pass away, complete to Craig Ellis. Ellis down at the 30-yard line. Junior Thurman covering on the play and making the tackle on Ellis.
Junior Thurman.
Good thing. This is what happens when you give Tracy Ham time to throw the ball. Sprinting out to his left, he matches up. Greg Peterson, the safety, comes over one-on-one against Craig Ellis. Craig Ellis is able to work hard, get to the outside. Tracy Ham make a good completion.
Lots of time left, 6.5 minutes in the fourth quarter. 1st and 10 Eskimos, but they need some points, and a lot of them in a hurry. Ham with a hole. Ham gets down to the 23-yard line. Will Johnson makes the stop, but a flag is thrown back at the 35.
They think we're going to have that call back, holding against Edmonton.
Holding, Edmonton number 67. First down repeated.
You're exactly right.
You can see the center. Rod Knopf, the offensive center, MVP of the league last year, gets called with the holding call, gets into a little bit of a clutch.
First and 20 now for the Eskimos from the 40-yard line. And to Blake Marshall. He set up the screen perfectly. Marshall has a lot of space, and he's got some speed down to the 10-yard line. Ron Hopkins was there to bring him down, and when Marshall gets that much of a head of steam going, he's tough to bring down. You pay the price.
That's like trying to say it's easy to stop a derailed freight train when it gets rolling. Good play selection here by Tracy. Gets the Calgary Stampeders in a zone, dumps it off to the screen pass to the right-hand side. Good blocking again by the right side. Randy Ambrosi, the offensive line, and allows Blake Marshall to make a big first down, puts the ball inside the 10-yard line.
You're right. Throwing your body in front of Blake Marshall when he gets a head of steam. I mean, you're talking 230 pounds here, and he is coming at you like a freight train.
Kind of like, think of it like an elephant. You shoot him first, and if he still doesn't go down, then you just keep running, and hopefully he can't catch you.
He's done most of his damage rushing or receiving this afternoon, 61 yards. And that's the price you pay for trying to bring down Blake Marshall.
Like you said earlier, Blake only has 7 yards rushing. Unfortunately, the Edmonton Eskimos have been in a catch-up position through most of this game, and they haven't had an opportunity to really utilize his effect as a running back. They needed to try to get him into the pass or throw the ball downfield.
Ron Hopkins, the injured player.
Come right now, Blake Marshall, and Hopkins comes down, but you see that he's got his head bent down, his neck bent down, and the one place you're going to hit Blake Marshall too is right in the thighs, one of the most powerful places on his whole body, and he hits it and just runs right over Hopkins.
Tracy Ham has done most of the rushing damage for the Edmonton Eskimos. 5 rushes for 69 yards. And Ron Hopkins paid the price for trying to stop Blake Marshall on that last play. Still down on the field, still being attended to by the Stampeders training staff as we take another look at it.
You really hope that in this case, because he does catch him down around the knees where there's some tremendous power by Blake Marshall, and his head is down right at the last moment, turns his neck and really jams and pulls the nerves that are on the right-hand side. Hopefully that this is not a serious injury. This could be, and in a lot of cases before that we've seen in this league, Steve, has turned into some very serious injuries.
Well, of course, you try to keep your fingers crossed, and you're not going to second-guess the medical staff, which are attending to Ron Hopkins right now. Hopkins, who needs 301 yards to surpass Leo Lewis as the CFL's all-time kickoff return leader, is being helped off the field. I've got a feeling he won't be doing any more kickoff returning this afternoon against the Eskimos. Obviously shaken up on that tackle against Blake Marshall, and it was Marshall who came out the winner.
Well, the terrific thing about this, even though on your screen it looks worse than that with both guys carrying him off, is that he is moving his legs. He is alert of what's happening, and therefore you hope and that there's not any kind of serious nerve damage.
This program is copyright and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or retransmission in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. First and 10 Eskimos from the 10. And puts it up. Touchdown to Sandusky.
Complete to Jim Sandusky. Touchdown.
And there are no flags on the play. Reason again for celebration in the Eskimos cheering section. Ham hooking up with Jim Sandusky.
Well, we spoke earlier as far as Tracy Ham trying to take advantage of some of the cornerbacks here. And again, you got Carl Anthony right here, who's been the victim of the past 2 touchdowns. One with Dave Williams, this one with Sandusky.
Macaroon is good on the convert attempt.
The score, the Calgary Stampeders 41, Edmonton Eskimos 29.
Favors Stampeders, but we've still got 5 minutes.
Any fans who attend the Pretzel Restaurant
It took them 10
will receive
plays.
a 10% discount just by showing
76
today's
yards and
ticket
they ate up
stub.
4 minutes and 11 seconds on the clock. Sandusky caps the drive, hauling in that pass from Tracy Ham. And I'm sure Eskimo fans are saying, where was that kind of consistency on offense back in the second and third quarter?
Rocky, Tammy, Natasha. They had those kind of pass patterns open. Tracy was just a little inconsistent in throwing the ball. He overthrew about 4 receivers that were wide open at the time.
Well, this is the highest scoring Labor Day showdown between these two Alberta rivals. 41-29. I've got a feeling we've got some more scoring to come. McAreedy getting set to kick off following the touchdown. And they go for the short kick, as you might expect, but before they get the kick away, flags go down at the 30-yard line. Obviously, the call against the Eskimos. They'll kick it over, move it back. And they move it back to the 25-yard line. I wonder if they'll try the short kickoff again as Ron Hopkins continues to receive attention from the Calgary Stampeders medical staff following his tackle on Blake Marshall.
Don't give him a cheap one behind the yellow.
Ron right now and telling him, trust me, this is for sure that it was not a truck that hit you.
Ray McAreedy getting set to do it all again. Will it be a short one? No, they're not going to gamble. They go long. Pee Wee Smith at the 40, at the 45, 50. Crosses the midfield area. Gets into Eskimo territory. About the 54-yard line. Mike McLean is there to force him out of play. In the battle of touchdowns in the CFL, Alan Pitts the leader with 10. Sandusky and Williams only 2 behind, along with Ray Elgard of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who had that big game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Stampeders who got the ball, 1st and 10 from the 53-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Taylor, and he is sacked. So once again, the Eskimos defense rises to the occasion. Benny Goods and Trevor Bowles.
The veteran Mike Walker doing a great job of defeating blocks up front to get in front, Steve Taylor's face and sack him. Steve Taylor trying to sprint out to the left, wants to throw back, but doesn't have a chance. Got some heat from Benny Good, but again, Mike Walker comes and cleans it up. Right now, Steve Taylor's most important thing is to keep the clock running, make first downs, and see if you can keep these drives alive.
Walker, the man of the moment for the Eskimos on that play. 2nd and 15. Taylor gets the pass away, almost picked off by Willie Pless. He had it.
Taylor's pass intended for Pitt. Broken
Good
up by
pressure
Willie
again
Pless,
from
incomplete.
the Eskimos
Third
defense
down,
on Taylor. And he made a rookie mistake. He should have eaten that one perhaps. Got it away.
Good shot again by Leroy Blue. This is about the 4th time he's been in Steve Taylor's face, trying to throw to Alan Pitts. And again, Willie Pless right here just doing something that he'd love to do as far as a linebacker, making an interception.
Forcing the Stampeders to punt. Matic with the good punt. Kicking away from the gizmo. It goes out of bounds at the 15-yard line, so it puts the Edmonton Eskimos in a bit of a hole. They trail 41-29. They've got 4:22 to play. A 44-yard punt from Matic and no return from the gizmo as Tracy Ham leads the offense onto the field. Not a bad afternoon for Tracy Ham. On most afternoons, that might be good enough, but not against the Stampeders today. 1st and 10, Edmonton from the 15. Ham finally unloads to Marco Santos. Sincar dropped at the 22-yard line. Matt Finley over to make the stop for the Stampeders. 3:53 to
12
play.
yards on the play.
Eskimos have a long way to go.
Tackle. Eskimo first down.
Hurry up offense by Tracy Ham right now, calling everything audible on the line of scrimmage.
Ham calls all his own plays. He has about 20 to work with each game. Ham gets it away. Craig Ellis. Ellis gets out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Darrell Hall was pursuing, but Craig Ellis was wide open. Had the ball been thrown a little harder, Ellis may have been far enough by himself that he could have gone all the way.
Quick release by Tracy. He's got the one-on-one coverage, halfback blitz. Ellis breaks to the outside to the corner, and Tracy just lobs it up and lets Ellis run underneath it.
A 43-yard pickup by Craig Ellis, and the Eskimos are on the move. Remember, they trail 41-29. 3:23 to play. The clock is running. Puts it up, complete to Sandusky. Sandusky one-on-one, still dancing around. Good effort by Sandusky, down to the 19-yard line. Greg Peterson and Carl Anthony defending for the Stampeders.
Today in the Canadian Football League.
Certainly the kind of effort you want to see from a receiver of any sort. He picks it, makes the out cut here, hits Sandusky, and then all of a sudden makes a good play inside and
Be sure to join us for the Walker game on
Coming up Saturday on Sports Weekend, Chris Cuthbert, your host, the World Rowing Championships from Vienna. Silken Lawman leads a very strong Canadian team. And from Stuttgart, Germany, the World Cycling Track Championships. That's Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern on CBC. Sunday, Alain Prost of France in search of the checkered flag. Prost is still winless in this Formula One season. He'll try and claim victory for Ferrari at the Italian Grand Prix. That's at 12:30 a.m. local time. Steve?
Just part of the crowd, Scott, of 32,511 here in attendance at McMahon Stadium this afternoon. Eskimos first and 10 from the 19. Ham puts it up, complete to Blake Marshall. Marshall down at the 10-yard line. Alondra Johnson there to make the stop.
Tracy Ham showing great patience right now and composure, trying to catch Calgary as he did in a zone defense. Sends Blake Marshall just as a loop in the circle around the backfield, dumps it off to him and allows Blake Marshall to do the rest.
Eskimos needing a yard to keep the drive alive. 2nd and 1. They give to Marshall. This should be money in the bank. It is. They have the first down. They'll move the chains. And it'll be a first and goal situation for the Eskimos. But time is running out. 2 minutes and 42 seconds to play. 7 points here would make it 41-36. So we could yet have a cliffhanger finish here. Tracy Ham rolling left, puts it up, looking for Craig Ellis. Ellis couldn't get to it, and they rule interference on Craig Ellis. Darrell Hall, the guilty party, I'm sure.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 7. First down.
And Darrell Hall it was, trying to defend against Craig Ellis, and a little overzealous.
Identical pattern that they'd had before. You can see right there, Darrell Hall's in Craig Ellis's face, doesn't know where the ball is, doesn't know how to turn around and looks back at it to maybe not get that pass interference call.
First and goal to go, Eskimos from the 1-yard line. Tracy Ham keeps himself, touchdown Eskimos. It was either give the ball to Blake Marshall or have Tracy Ham keep it himself. The Eskimo quarterback elected to keep it himself and go in for the 6 points.
Just get right behind that big offensive lineman rocking off. You can see the explosion that he comes off the field. And again, Tracy Ham gets into the end zone for a big score. This is certainly not the situation that you want to see the Edmonton Eskimos in right now, and that is Tracy Ham on the turf.
Tracy Ham holding his left knee, and Ronnie Lancaster no doubt holding his breath. They have brought it back. It is now 41-35 as the backup, Warren Jones. We saw some action last week in that loss to Saskatchewan.
Take a good look right at your middle of your screen. You see his left knee as it starts to crumble, and he gets a shot on it there. It looks like by Alonzo Johnson, number 51, and that certainly have a hurting effect to him.
Tracy Ham limping off the field with a little help from the trainers. His second TD rushing this season, but that'll be small consolation to the Eskimo coaching staff if their number one quarterback goes down at this point in the game. 2:28 to play, 41-35 favor the Stampeders as Jones loosens up on the sideline. Ron Lancaster, the former quarterback, the little general with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You wonder in a case like this if Lancaster would like to suit up and do it himself. No, there aren't too many 50-year-old quarterbacks in the league, are there? And the point after is good from Lenny McAreedy. So we have got a 41-36 ball game as Tracy Ham is helped to the sidelines. 24 of 43 passes for Tracy Ham. A very busy afternoon. Not as productive as he would like. He brought them back to within 5 points.
Knowing a little bit about Tracy Ham, I can really expect to see him back on that field very, very soon. He's not the kind of guy that will take sitting on the bench very easy, particularly in a crucial situation, 41-36 game with 2:28 remaining.
I'm sure we're going to get a short kick here from Ray McAreedy. He's got all the Flyers on the left side. And of course, he goes to the right side. Kevan Jenkins has trouble fielding the ball. Has it at the 10. Cuts it upfield. Gets to the 16-yard line.
52-yard kickoff by Ray McAreedy.
Brian Walling downfield to make the stop for the Edmonton Eskimos. A 65-yard kick and a 7-yard return from Kevan Jenkins. We've got 2:22 to play. Stampeders lead 41-36. But the Stamps have the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 16.
For whatever reason, Steve, they have absolutely been stale the past 9 minutes of this fourth quarter.
Well, having the backup quarterback in there doesn't help. Remember, Danny Barrett went down with a dislocated finger on his throwing arm, although Taylor's done a pretty good job. Scrambles, gets the pass away, incomplete. Tremendous pressure there from Benny Goods on Taylor.
Benny Goods putting a great hit from the backside. Steve Taylor trying to sprint out to his right-hand side, buying time, trying to find Alan Pitts downfield. Can't find him anywhere, and eventually Benny Goods gets a pretty good shot on Steve Taylor.
Well, that is one record the Calgary Stampeders would have liked to avoid. 21 penalties in one game. Taylor, sprinting right, gets the pass away, and it's picked off. The Edmonton Eskimos have intercepted Eddie Thomas, who has been picked on all afternoon. Steve Taylor can't believe it. The Eskimos coming up with a clutch interception.
What a terrific play by Eddie Thomas. They have gone to the well over and over again through the course of this game, picking on him and exactly isolating him one-on-one against the receivers of the Calgary Stampeders. This time he has a chance. Steve Taylor forced out of the pocket, sprinting to his right, has to throw the ball just a little bit off balance, doesn't get nearly as much on it as he wants to, but Eddie Thomas makes a great reception of getting in front of that and closes it down. Big turnover for the Edmonton Eskimos.
And watch the hit that Taylor takes right there from Willie Pless.
Coming back. Here he is. Right there is Bland, but Eddie Thomas comes out of nowhere, closes the ground very quickly, and has sure hands to squeeze it for a big interception.
So this is the situation now. The ball's at the 26-yard line. It's 1st and 10 Eskimos. We've got 2 minutes and 5 seconds to play. Tracy Ham is in. Ham looking for Sandusky. It's incomplete. Carl Anthony was covering on the far sidelines. And again, Ham is slow to get to his feet. Boy, this has been a tough game on the quarterbacks.
Says a lot for the defense out there. They are taking a tremendous amount of shots. Tracy Ham, just with that knee, the way it feels, cannot release it as the way he wants. And a little bit of a late hit coming in there by Alondro Johnson.
41-36 favor the Stampeders. 2nd and 10 Eskimos from the Stamps 26-yard line. Ham with some time and now pressure. The ball is loose. Calgary scoop it up. Stu Laird. Make back. Junior Thurman. Home free. To this football game, one of the great rivalries in the CFL. It looked as if Edmonton had a chance to pull it out, but the Stampeders come up with an unbelievable effort. Junior Thurman finishes the playoff, but it was Stu Laird and Will Johnson who did much of the work for the Calgary Stampeders. And now Mark McLaughlin will attempt the point after. 48-36. That should do it for the Stampeders. Simply not enough time for the Eskimos. One more look. This is worth looking at.
This Calgary defense has held them in all game long. Will Johnson is in there, gets behind Tracy Ham, puts the hit on him. And Stu Laird, the amble, fleet-footed defensive lineman he is, but he's intelligent. He turns around, gives it to the speedy guy, Junior Thurman, to hurry up and carry it into the end zone. For the main reason, Stu said, I know I can't run that far. And Junior Thurman carries it all the way into the end zone. A little too much showboating, almost lost the ball at the goal line. Big turnover. This Calgary defense has held them in the game all day long. Tracy Ham trying to look down. Something on the sideline next time until cross the goal line first.
20 yards by Stu Laird, 60 yards by that man, Junior Thurman, an 80-yard touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders. A tremendous finish to a very entertaining game here at McMahon Stadium. We've still got 1:41 to go. But you have to wonder if that might not be the final nail in the Eskimos' coffin. And as I speak, the Eskimos come back. This is Thomas, still on his feet. Flags are down. Thomas weaving his way down to the 49-yard line. David Sapunjas is there to make the stop for the Stampeders, but we've got a lot of flags down.
Sapunjas, the tackler for the Stampeders.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 56. First down.
Well, we had some video problems across the country, so let's take another look at this touchdown by the Stampeders.
Tracy Ham very comfortable in the pocket, looking downfield for David Williams. Will Johnson's not going to have anything to do with that. Big scramble for the ball, and Stu Laird, the veteran of 7 years of the Calgary Stampeders, comes up with it, has the peace of mind to give it off to the speedster, Junior Thurman. And at this point, he's just nowhere going to touch him until he starts to celebrate just a little early. And David Williams comes out of nowhere to almost within 6 inches, knock that ball away.
And now 1:25 to play. Eskimos 1st and 10. Ham in difficulty. Gets the pass away to Sandusky, but it's ruled that Sandusky made the catch out of bounds. Ray Savage and Will Johnson putting a lot of pressure on Tracy Ham.
Leonard on the coverage for the Stampeders.
Not enough good things can be said about the Calgary defense today, and the amount of pressure defense they played against this very, very good Edmonton Eskimo offense all day long.
The score is 48-36, favor the Stampeders. And that's the newcomer, Ray Savage, down with an injury.
Taking a look at what he's doing right now, as far as he's lifting the toe up, thinking that now Ray Savage is maybe having some cramps in his calves. And he's been out there and he's been running and chasing Reggie Taylor all over the field all day long. And I think I'd cramp up too if you'd been doing that.
You had a few in your career, your 10-year career with the Edmonton Eskimos, especially on artificial turf. It seems that we get more of those than we do on natural turf.
It's very unforgiving for you out there, particularly on a day like today. Here in the last 8 or 10 minutes of this game, that Calgary defense has been out on the field for a very long time.
This is now the highest scoring game between these two teams. The previous highest scoring game, 68 points, a 38-30 win for the Edmonton Eskimos. We've now got 84 points on the board. Warren Jones is back into the game for the Eskimos. He was warming up on the sidelines when Tracy Ham went down. We thought we might see him before this, but Tracy Ham came out in an effort to rally the Eskimos one more time, but it didn't work. Jones puts it up. Michael Soles crosses the 40-yard line. Carl Anthony there to make the stop, short of the first down.
Calgary very contented right now to play deep zone coverage. Almost in a four-man across the board here, in quarter sections across, making the Edmonton Eskimos throw the ball upfield just in front of them, and then they react up to it. Do not give up the big play at this point in time. 3rd and 3 Eskimos. They have to go for it. To the Giz. And the Giz has the first down with about a yard to spare. Matt Finley and Carl Anthony there to make the stop for the Stampeders. Well, we expected a great one, an entertaining classic between these two teams, and we certainly had it. The Eskimos moving to within 5 points of the Stampeders, and then the Stampeders turning the lights out with that last touchdown run. 1st and 10 from the 48. Jones puts it up, complete to Sandusky, and he takes a big hit from Carl Anthony. Part of that's a little frustration, too, that Carl Anthony's getting to give out because he's been scored on the past 2 times, long touchdowns against him, and I'm sure that doesn't sit very favorably with him. 54 seconds to play, 4th quarter. 1st and 10 Eskimos. The ball at the 49-yard line. Jones gets to the big guy, Blake Marshall. Marshall got to the 45-yard line, and Longford Johnson was there to meet him. Make that Michael Soles the big guy.
Kent Warnock and Singer. 2nd down.
No questionable call right there. I mean, what's the point of running the ball inside to Michael Soles? You got to throw it down. You got to throw it down the field. You've got 48 seconds left, and you've got to score twice.
That's Stu Laird, the injured Calgary Stampeder, probably still feeling the effects of that run.
Well, you know, that burst of speed of 20 yards that he made once he scooped that ball up. You know, those defensive linemen are not quite used to running that quickly, you know, and it's a panic speed.
Came into this game with 3 sacks to his credit. Had 1 in this game to boost his total of 4, but the play they'll be talking about for some time to come here in Calgary, the way he scooped up the ball and had the presence of mind to flip it off to Junior Thurman, who used his speed to take it into the end zone. Danny Barrett. Injured a finger.
Larry Ray, that's for you.
Just dedicating the game to somebody. 2nd and 6 Eskimos from the 45. Warren Jones going long, looking for the gizmo, and the ball hit the artificial turf before it was scooped up.
Incomplete. Peterson on the coverage.
Trying to scramble out to the right, and again, just trying to loft it up. A Hail Mary pass to the Giz down by the goal line. But right at the end of that throw, he pays the price also. Harold Ballard comes in the back and just greets him right in the back of the head.
35 seconds to play. 48-36, favored Calgary. 3rd and 6 situation. They converted the last first down. Looks like a legal motion against the Eskimos.
Warren Jones pulling out from underneath Rod Knopf a little quicker without the ball. Looks like illegal procedure against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Again, the inexperience of the backup quarterback. I've always maintained, I guess maybe because I played it for a couple of years, toughest position in football to be a backup quarterback.
Procedure, Edmonton number 6, 3rd down repeated.
You still hold quite a few records out there at that St. Mary's, huh?
No, I think records for just tying on my shoes is about it. Jones. He's going to put it up. Intended for Michael Souls. It's incomplete. So the Edmonton Eskimos will give up the ball on downs. But this one ended a few moments ago with that touchdown from the Calgary Stampeders. A flag is down. I think Ron Lancaster's shading his eyes from the sun. I don't think he's got his hands up there in submission. Earlier today, you saw it on CBC television. 48-24. Ticats upsetting the Argos. And you'll see them next Saturday night from the Sky Dome, the rematch, as John Gregory will attempt to make it 2 in a row. You have to feel good for that man. Being fired by Saskatchewan, hired by the Ticats, and wins his first time out.
What a great initial victory against a team the caliber of Toronto.
22 penalties in this game against Calgary. A CFL record, not one they'll be proud of. 1st and 10 for the Eskimos, advancing it via the penalty route. This is Blake Marshall down to the 29-yard line. Matt Finley there to make the stop. 24 seconds to play.
As you said earlier, 22 penalties. It's something that Coach Wally Warner will not be happy at all about, the execution out there, but it makes it a heck of a lot easier to stomach and to swallow when you win a big game like they just won today.
2nd and 5 from the 30. Jones. Intercepted! Junior Thurman, who scored the touchdown a few moments ago, comes up with the interception.
That was in number 54. Declined. First down.
Holding against the Edmonton Eskimos. So I'm sure that the Calgary Stampeders will wave off the penalty, take over possession of the football, and the fans are pouring out of McMahon Stadium with smiles on their faces. They have seen the Calgary Stampeders defeat the Edmonton Eskimos. That'll give Calgary 14 points on the season, leave Edmonton with 10, BC in 3rd place with 8, and Saskatchewan with 6.
Terrific, entertaining football game. 32,000 and change today. They came here and saw that go away. A very happy crowd.
Calgary Stampeders just trying to run out the clock. 6 seconds showing on the scoreboard here at McMahon Stadium. 48-36, Wally Buono, the winning coach. And boy, what a big win this is for any Calgary team. Anytime they can knock out the team from the north, the Edmonton Eskimos, and now a standing ovation from the fans remaining here at McMahon Stadium for their Stampeders. They have done it. They have beaten the Eskimos 48-36. Ronnie Lancaster sees his team drop to 5-4 on the season and remain with 10 points, now 4 behind the Stampeders.
Can you imagine how this builds up for that rematch next week in Commonwealth Stadium with the same 2 teams going after it?
That should be an entertaining one, and I'm not going to try and predict an outcome on that. The Calgary Stampeders haven't won at Commonwealth Stadium in their last 12 tries, but you've got to think that this game here this afternoon will do absolute wonders for their confidence. A big win for the Calgary Stampeders after losing 2 in a row to come back and beat the Edmonton Eskimos in the Labor Day Classic by a count of 48-36.
The Labor Day battle in Calgary yields a win for the Calgary Stampeders, 48-36 over their arch rivals, the Edmonton Eskimos. And the big thing here is that the Calgary Stampeders now have a 4-point lead in the West over the Edmonton Eskimos. Our Molson MVP, number 88 wide receiver of the Calgary Stampeders, Carl Bland. Carl with a touchdown, 6 catches, 101 yards. Here is an example as Bland takes a pass from Danny Barrett. It is a bomb. And Carl Bland beats the Edmonton secondary and takes the ball into the end zone as the Calgary Stampeders aerial attack prevails over the Edmonton Eskimos. Joining me now is Carl Bland. And Carl, Wally Buono told us before this game that Edmonton cannot cover our receivers. Is that what you believe won it for you today?
Well, they have a good secondary. I'm not going to take anything from them, but the last 2 games we have been playing up to par, and we said we had to come out and really contribute in this game. So that was our goal in coming into this game.
All right, good luck to you, Carl Bland, and congratulations, our Molson MVP, Carl Bland of the Calgary Stampeders. Once again, the Calgary Stampeders over the Edmonton Eskimos in this Labor Day Classic, 48-36. They now have a 4-point lead in the West over those same Edmonton Eskimos. And for the Calgary Stampeders, a moral victory in this 48-36 win over their arch rivals, Ronnie Lancaster's Edmonton Eskimos. Our next game, Saturday, September 7th, as the Tiger Cats go to the Sky Dome to face the Argos. That's at 7:30 Eastern. Sports Weekend on Saturday has the World Cycling Championships and the Rowing Championships. Goodbye from Calgary.